Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wow, this is awesome. Hey, come on in. You're more than welcome. As everybody know, I'm Steve McDonald, I'm the Executive Director of the State Board of Cosmetology. I want to say definitely officially welcome to you all for taking time out of your busy day and schedule to come to this workshop. It's a regulatory workshop, so we have to do this by regulation. To basically hold a town hall like we did March 6th, which takes comment only, okay? So if you are gonna make comments, hopefully you signed in on the short sheet so that way we can keep track of your comments. It's really for record keeping purposes. Everything is recorded as well. So a couple housekeeping issues. Bathrooms are out the door. If you are going to take phone calls, please go out into the parking lot. This is a CPA firm. CPA firms are like law firms. They're very quiet. So they don't like us in their hallways talking and disrupting their business as well. I want to say thank you to Campbell, Jones, and Cohen, I want to say CJC, for allowing us to use their big conference room. It allows us all to spread out and not be all squished in together. I think there's any other housekeeping items.
That's it.
That's it. I did good. I've been trained very well. Hope you all had a good weekend. And let's go ahead and start. Do you want anything?
No, I think that Board Member Bramo, I think that this meeting here will give a lot of clarification of what the Senate is imposing to pass Executive Director McDonald. He can kind of talk about the process. This is already in process. It's waiting to be with this final vote. And I just kind of wanted to share, like, moving forward in the future, the energy that we put in coming here, like bashing board members and things like that. When they had the board meeting, at the government center to talk about this bill, I didn't see not one esthetician there. So I mean, that's where it starts. It starts at legislation, because this is something that the legislation actually approved, not the state board. That was my comment. Well, yeah, and now we're here to fix it.
Board Member O'Brien?
Board Member Bryant here. I just wanted to say that we're super excited about how far we've come with this bill and how much effort we put into making the changes that are going to come and we're going to see made. But I also want to second what Board Member Bramo says. It's not just today, it's the legislature meetings and things like that. We need you guys out there to help us, to let your voices be heard there as well, so that we can make those changes that we want to have made on this bill, and also that you guys want to see in your position as well. That's all I got.
I do want to go over the process quickly. You all know the battery rise statutes, that's our NRS. That's the law, it's statutes that govern what licensees are bound by, as well as what the agency does. The regulations is what interprets those statutes. The legislature can't put everything in the law of how an agency is supposed to operate or how a licensee is supposed to apply. So they rely on the agency to do their job in interpreting what the law is, staying within the confines of what the policy that's set out by the law, that's signed into law by the governor. So legislature makes policy, passes it, it goes to the governor to sign, passes the law. Then after that, if it's not detailed enough, they give the authority to the board to make regulations, to further interpret and guide the licensees, and also to guide us. So that way we know what we're looking for and how we're going to regulate the industry and protect the citizens of our state. And of course, those wonderful tourists that we love that pay a lot of money here. So that's how the process works. And as Board Member Daniel said, right now we're in legislative session. So of course, some of these things may change once it comes out in the legislature. But right now, I'm sure you all are aware that we're moving things back in to the esthetician license and leaving some of the higher level types of services in the AE. So that's where we're at right now. Again, it's with the legislature. I don't have a vote. We just do what legislature tells us to do. Okay, they make the laws. We vote them in. The only way we can change it is by voting them out, if you want. But that's their job. They make the laws. They pass it. Governor signs it. We enforce it. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Oh, who wants to be first? Batter up. Who wants to be first? Okay.
Oh, you will come up
just-
to the chair and then drop your paper off with Erica.
Sorry.
You can use that paper next to you. Yeah, shove that paper off to Erica right there. And have a seat and state your name for the record, and then you can make your comments.
My name is Trisha Faust.
Just want to make it comfortable for you. If you want to sit down.
Yeah, you
you
can sit.
can.
Okay.
Stand.
Oh, we got you. Camera's right there. We got you.
Sorry, I'm just a little. Okay. First, I want to say thank you to all the board members for serving on the board. As we do know, it is daunting being a middle person. I have been a cosmetology esthetician for 30 years, 26 in the state of Nevada, and I've also been the first board certified oncology esthetician in the state of Nevada for 10 years and a licensed instructor for 3 years. During the shutdown, I became an instructor because our studios were not open, and it was always a passion of mine. My number one issue with the AE aesthetics and teaching is the guidelines. The guidelines were never set very transparent. I would call the state board to ask them which things were included, which things weren't, and they would add to the list as we went. So the transparency in teaching was a little frustrating for me at the time. There's also estheticians or instructors or recent graduate girls who are teaching the AE course outside of school who have recently just graduated, who do not have a curriculum put together. They are teaching off a handheld device that they purchased off of Amazon. And it's very frustrating to us as estheticians, since we are already having to pay this amount of money to get the advanced license, but there's no one going back and, how are these girls even allowed to do that? That is unacceptable. When we are professionals, we went to school, we got certified, they should be professionals teaching the class, and there was no curriculum based on that, which, yes, I've turned them into the state board because that is my duty as a citizen. A majority of us estheticians, we do not want to do laser. The laser program is a whole separate identity. And years ago, back in like 2013, you didn't even have to have an aesthetic license to do laser at some of the facilities here in Las Vegas. So that is perplexing to me as well. I do believe in education. I take continuing education every day. And as you know, as an instructor, I need to have continuing education credits for myself. And some of my students are here and they know we do continuing education every single week. I do ask that you guys just please reconsider some of the modalities that are being considered for AE, such as the LED light, skin spatula, which my skin buddy, there's more than just us estheticians. There's companies outside here that we support that give us professional tools and devices and modalities that we can use in our practice, which helps us make that extra money that we can, because we are small businesses and majority of us, we are women-owned businesses, and we need to stick together and we need to support one each other. And I apologize that I was not at that first meeting. I was not aware of that one. My resolution to the whole situation would have been to have a medical aesthetics and an esthetician. A medical esthetician could have done more evasive, IPL, Fraxel, laser, anything that penetrates the second layer of skin, the dermis. So that's it. I was trying to keep it under 3 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And also, yeah, I know you're all used to 3 minutes. You can do a little more if you like. I'm a nice guy. So,
I practice, so I was like, I gotta
well,
cut it
you
down.
did very well. Thank you so much.
Thank
We appreciate it. Who wants to, you want to go up north to see if anybody? Anybody up north?
No public comment at this time, thank you.
Righty, we'll go back to Las Vegas. Who's next? We'll go down the line. Anybody up front? How about you, man? Thank you. Yeah, sure, she- All right,
Good morning, everyone.
good morning.
My name is Sharita Canty. I am a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Nevada as well as the state of Minnesota. I am an advanced esthetician in the state of Nevada and soon to be a licensed instructor in the state of Minnesota. However, I am currently a resident here in the state of Nevada, and I'm looking to start a mobile salon business here in the state of Nevada. I believe it will be the first mobile salon business in the state, if allowed. Thing is the compliance wants this big, huge 24-foot vehicle or whatever I choose to use, whether it's a trailer, a car, bus, whatever. They want it to be 24 feet long. That's, to me, I mean, it's not really necessary. You know, I'm only one person. I'm not looking to service any other service providers as far as salon rentals or anything. Right now, I'm working towards me and my own business and trying to bring myself off the ground. In the near future, of course, I would love to buy something bigger or maybe multiple units and maybe rent them out or what have you, to provide for the other service providers, you know, as far as salon rentals or what have you. But right now, I'm really just focusing on me and trying to get things situated for myself as well as my children. I'm a single mother of 4. I'm 48 years old, and I'm really ready to get my life, you know, in the direction that I want it to be in. And my children, they are on board as well. I have a daughter that's in cosmetology school as well. I have one that's going to be soon starting esthetician school. So yes, I am looking to expand later, but right now I need this mobile salon for me, for the community. I mean, there's people that's disabled, there are people, they're homebodies that don't want to leave home. I can be on demand, pull right up to them, you know, that way they can stay in their comfort zone. Tourists, when they come in, I'm on demand, walk up right to the services or, you know, request that I travel to them, which I'm a traveling stylist anyway. So that will fit right in for me. I believe that it'll be a really great asset to the state. I provide many services. I have a nice clientele base. I've been from salon to salon, people owning salons or what have you, you're renting a booth, come to find out they haven't paid their rent. So now you got to move, you know, it's just a bit much. And I feel like this mobile salon unit will be an enterprise for not only myself, but for the state of Nevada, period. You know, and I'm hoping that what I've submitted in my variance, I'm hoping that you guys consider it and allow me to make this happen. I'm really excited to get this going. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? Oh. Nobody up north.
No public comment at this time.
Sorry about that. Oh, you.
Good morning, board members. Good morning, fellow SDs. My name is Sharona Shelton. I am a licensed advanced esthetician, licensed instructor, and I'm also a licensed massage therapist here in the state of Nevada. Thank you for having this meeting and it being open. I am honored to be here to be able to express my thoughts on everything that has been going on. First, I want to start with responding to what was stated earlier by the 2 board members. And talk more about what is the responsibility of a board, right? I wrote down some things. The board members I know you have numerous responsibilities, right? But it's to oversee management, finances, quality, set strategic direction, and build community relationships, establish ethical standards, values, and compliance. So when I hear board members say, well, it wasn't us, it lacks a state of responsibility of people who are in position, and it appears to be deflecting. And I feel like we put you all in a position to advocate for us. And we don't want to hear deflection. We don't want to hear this is their fault, this is their fault, we didn't know. When I was on the initial board meeting, when all of this began to take place, when all of us estheticians were calling, President Gwen, she spoke and she addressed something that I said. And she said, Ms. Shelton, it was not us. We were unaware that this legislation was being implemented. So to say to us that we should have known, we leave you all with that responsibility to advise us. Never before had I, in the entire time that I have been an esthetician in the state of Nevada, have I received emails regarding information on where we should go, up until when y'all start hearing our voices. Yeah. Now we get all these emails, but we did not, I didn't, nobody in the other estheticians did not receive any emails about legislation. We give that to you all as a responsibility to advise us of that so that we can go help you all advocate for us. It is not us who are supposed to, that's why we pay you. That's not our responsibility. We're here to work and be in compliance. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that doesn't want to hear that. I want to lead, and I want us to lead and work in partnership by leading with facts and not feelings and being resolution-based. But starting off a conversation saying, well, it wasn't us, that's not resolution-based. It doesn't feel like a community partnership as we were supposed to build. So I also think to talk about some things that another, the SC came up and talked about was how flip-floppy the law has been. We were required to pay anywhere from $2,500 to $6,000 to go to school, to get 75 hours of laser training. When I took my laser training, I ensured that I went to one of the most qualified laser companies that was running the laser training, which was Advanced Aesthetics. To my knowledge, they were the only ones in the state of Nevada that were practicing and had the knowledge to be able to teach that. While I was in that class, I asked the person who was instructing me, so are we learning about everything else that's on there? Microneedling, body contouring. No, state board advised that we cannot teach that. So how are you regulating something for 75 hours that can't teach? I know why, because the truth be told, nobody knew how to do on the board. From my knowledge, I want to know if anybody knew what lasers, how to do lasers and have been practicing it. Is the esthetician on the board, did you practice and take training in microneedling? Did you practice and take training in body contouring? All of those things that are being regulated, if you sit on the board, you should have some knowledge and experience in doing those things in order to implement rules. Because if you don't do that and you don't reach out to outside sources, you won't know. Me, myself, I actually go around the United States and I teach a full course of microneedling to estheticians throughout the United States. I do that every month. Next week, I'm leaving for Philly to go do that because I've been employed and trained in order to do that. And I do that while taking continuous education credits. Now let's talk about that. The lasers, it should have been an addendum to the license. We don't want to do lasers. Why? Because most solo small business owners cannot afford a proper laser machine with the proper insurance to be able to properly implement such a delicate service. So when you grouped everything in, it made it like, well, either we're not going to have a business and a small business is going to be at a disadvantage, or we're going to pay this money and learn something we're not even going to use. So as a resolution, in my resolution base, it would have been, this is an addendum, you go take this training, and we add that addendum to your license. Body contouring. Body contouring has to do with the lymphatic system. As a massage therapist and a licensed aesthetics instructor who has thoroughly read and worked with Alicia Pierce, who wrote the aesthetics curriculum, because she works alongside of me. And I also wrote a master class book with her. There is nothing in there that talks about lymphatic system. The cosmetology board should not be regulating body contouring. Body contouring should be regulated by the massage board, because there's no play. And the reason why nobody knows that is because nobody's ever done it. And they are not massage therapists. They know nothing about lymphatic system. So why is the cosmetology board grabbing a hold of it to regulate it? I talked about the small business disadvantage. One of the big things I've always said, even though I do it and I heard the other instructor does it, is the CEUs. We are required as instructors to take continuing education credits. I just recently renewed my license. Those continuing education credits are a joke. They are a complete laughable joke. They do not apply any advanced skill set. Every cosmetologist, nail tech, esthetician, advanced esthetician should be required to take continuing education courses. I, as a massage therapist, am required to take 22 every time I renew my license, because the practice changes consistently. And skin is such a delicate source. And if you don't want to take them, then you don't want to be an esthetician. And you don't want to provide your clients with the best service. And you don't want to uphold the integrity of the practice. So then you go do something else. Cosmetologists, full cosmetologists who took maybe about 200 hours of aesthetics in their cosmetology book should not be allowed to get an advanced aesthetics license. I took 900 aesthetics hours, 500 instructor hours. I taught in a classroom. I travel. I teach that. I take continuous education credits. It is not fair to me that somebody with a cosmetology license that practice hair and they only got a small snippet of skin is allowed to get an esthetician license. You should want to learn more because you want to provide your clients with the best possible service. And you should be wanting to take the classes that provide you with the best possible training. So for me, I would love to see us work for the board to seek out people who have the experience and the expertise to help you implement and regulate rules that put us at an advantage and not a disadvantage. We should not be, as small businesses, we should not be at a disadvantage, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to just do what they want to do. For example, I had inspectors come out to the space that I was at in order to license that space. And I heard of some things about not being able to shut things down. There was a nail salon who, when they went there and they opened up the sanitation cabbie, the roaches came out of that sanitation cabbie. There were clients in there. I said, oh, okay, you shut it down. No, we can't. What? And you worried about what I'm doing? If I'm doing body contouring? You don't, what is going on at the board? What are we doing? This is the loudest I've ever heard you guys. And it's being put back on us, and we should be working in partnership to make resolutions as opposed to passing the blame. And you all should go just as hard for us as we are going for ourselves. And that's all I got right now.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody down up north?
No comments up north, thank you.
All right, we're gonna keep on going back and forth. Oh, please.
Hi. Hi, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Laura. This is my business partner, Kathy, up front here. We're not advanced estheticians, but we got invited to come to this board meeting because we're small business owners. We own House of Contour, which is basically we perform endermology. We do it with a machine that's actually imported from Paris. It's called LPG. And a year ago, when we decided to open our business, we of course reached out to the board and asked what the regulations were in order to get, up and running. And so we of course followed all the steps and did everything. And we're kind of told that we're ready to go. We perform, it's non-invasive endermology. So it kind of falls under the rules of lymphatic drainage and body contouring, but kind of not. It's just a handheld device that just rolls over the skin. We primarily work with doctors with patients post-plastic surgery. But again, there's no medical director required because it's a non-invasive service. So in the very beginning, we were told that you guys might be making some changes, but nothing was really told to us, right? So Kathy and I went and, started our business and spent a lot of money doing this, quit our job of 10 years working as nurses for a plastic surgeon and proceeded with this business. So obviously within the last couple of months, we were told that you guys are, wanting to make these changes. And we got a casual email that just tells us that her and I should go to 900 hours of cosmetology school and spend 20 grand to go become advanced estheticians, which was a big shocker to us because had we had known in the very beginning that these are the kind of changes you guys are making, I would have never quit my job of 10 years and proceeded to do body contouring if these were the regulations. Her and I went into Florida and specifically got trained on this machine, and we're certified endermologists. In your curriculum under the cosmetology school, LPG is not even listed. So I'm going to go to school, pay $22,000, which you don't even ask if I have. Do I have 900 hours to quit my job? And who's paying my bills for me to go to school? Which was very upsetting. And it's not even in the curriculum. So I almost wish that you guys to add to you like an addendum, like case by case basis, like, wow, these girls have 10 years of plastic surgery experience. This is a non-invasive treatment. Why should I go to be an advanced esthetician if I'm not even touching the skin or exfoliating or lasering? I'm literally rolling over someone's body with a non-invasive FDA device. It's just very frustrating because we don't have that money for that. And now we had to hire an advanced esthetician to do our work for us. Like, we're broke. I opened a business and now I can't even run my own business. It's so upsetting. And the advanced estheticians, they don't want to do this. They want to do skin and lasers and peels. And I don't even offer that. So now I'm owning this awesome business that I can't even touch or be involved in because of these regulations. And it just doesn't make any sense to me at all, especially with our background. And like I said, the advanced esthetician that we have, she's bored. She doesn't want to do this. So now what do? I spent $65,000 on this machine and what, it's just going to sit there? I mean, this is our livelihood. Like, it's just really upsetting, guys. I just wish that you guys can somehow consider case by case basis on people that are still doing the right thing and still let us run our business because I'm so passionate about it. And that's just kind of, where we feel we're stuck. I just wish I could run my own business because I love it so much. I just wish it wasn't regulation. And truthfully, I mean, I don't have 900 hours and $22,000 and neither does she. For me to go to school to be able to do what I need to do, that still doesn't involve lasers or peels or anything. And so that's just kind of how we feel. I just wish that there was a little bit more that you guys could do for us girls with the whole body contouring or lymphatic drainage, and don't just shove us under a different category. That's all, just to hear us out. Because truthfully, we have really done everything by the book. We've listened, we've really done it, but I want to work and I don't want to go to cosmetology school because it's not even in the curriculum. And the only place to get trained for this machine is in Fort Lauderdale, which we went and spent $10,000 for and got certified, tested, examined and everything. And we have to go every 2 years. So I feel like we're legal. I just wish I could run my own business. That's all. So thank you.
Anybody up north?
Nothing at this time.
And thank you again for your comments.
Thank
Really
you
appreciate
so
it.
much for listening.
No, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Without you, we don't exist. As I said that in I don't know how many meetings over and over again. So I really appreciate your comments and whatever we can try to do to make it easier for you to be in business. That's what we're going to try and do.
I appreciate it.
Some of these things are in law, unfortunately, or fortunately, they're actually in law. So we can't change them by regulation. The regulations only interpret what the law is on the books. So we're working on trying to change that. And I know the legislature only meets every other year, so it takes a little time. But we'll definitely do our best, and we're taking your comments down. Okay?
Thank you.
We're not here to put you out of business. Honestly, that's not my job.
No, fully
And
understand.
my job is for you to flourish and be as profitable and happy in what your passion is.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody in the next row? Next. Please.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Palmer. I'm a cosmetologist, advanced aesthetic license holder. Cosmetology, I also am licensed in Arizona and a salon owner. So just kind of going over with some of the ladies that spoke before me. We've been dealing with this since about 18 months now. We've been in a group with Senator Buck, and she brought this whole SB 291 bill to us. We sat as a group. There was a bunch of us at one point. Now we're down to like a core 5. I just wish like we would keep that momentum going. I think the big problem at state board did not address this in the beginning is that they, again, did not give us any kind of updates as we were going along. We learned this, only reason we knew about it because Senator reached out to us. That was it. We never got, and I've been licensed in this town since 1989. Never got an email, never said, hey, guess what? This is going to change. And when you go back and look at the legislative, this has been going on since 2011, guys. Matt Brinton's been pushing this since 2011. When COVID happened, he swooped in and got it done. And he had Senator Lang, she's the one that pushed it. And he had his lobbyists, again, all about money, people. This man owns NEMA. Ironically, I did go to his school to check it out when he opened. I went to National Laser in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been also laser certified since 2011. So again, to speak to that, I just feel like the state board never reached out to us. If we didn't get other people to reach out to us, we would not know. And again, this is why they snuck it under us like this, right? Nobody knew about this. Raise your hand if you got an email about this.
No.
Nobody in this whole room.
No.
So again, this is not our fault. Again, you should be representing us. That's what we pay our board fees to you people, okay? So that being said, we need more, hey, legislative meetings on Monday at this date, because how are we supposed to know? A lot of us are our own business owners. We're busy taking clients, trying to live, okay? So that needs to be corrected with state board. A couple things were brought up last time, micro-channeling, micro-needling. I need to kind of some clarification on that. I don't think the board even realizes the difference between the two. So again, I don't think that needs to be taken off, and I need to, again, it's changing all the time. So I need to get clarification on that. What is going to be, it'll be done. Micro-channeling, micro-needling. What is that? Are we going to end up doing one or the other? I feel there should be some regulations on that as far as the depth goes on that, maybe because channeling, you can go a little bit less than the needling. So again, clarification on education on this. Again, if you can reach out to some of your people in here, this room could educate you guys very simply, okay? I've been in the business 34 years. I don't claim to know everything, but I know what I know. Okay, so I worked for Dr. Woodson for 3 years. I'm also medical. So again, have a lot under my belt. I am a cosmetologist, and to her, this woman that spoke, yes, you should have some more skin training. That's why I went to school. That's why I did that, because again, it was my passion to learn and to grow. And then working with the doctor, I really learned a lot working with Woodson. So that I think is very, very true on that point. Doctors, are we going to need doctors inside the medical facilities? I think that's ridiculous. Who can afford to have a doctor on staff unless you are a medi-spa that has a lot of money to throw into it as a small business owner? I can't afford that. I can't. That will shut down everything for me right there as it pertains to a doctor. Okay. Communication between the board and the licensees, I think that's the hugest problem right now. We are currently trying to get a group together to kind of be liaison between you guys and us, because I feel like there needs to be people, like, again, we started with this big group of women when we had the first meeting 18 months ago or longer now, probably close to 2 years now. And now we're down to a core 5. So we can get some more people to kind of just join this and really be on top of it. And I realize everybody's busy. I mean, we all have families, children, marriage, everybody has stuff going on. Okay, so the laser schools, the schools that were popping up here was just ridiculous. I went to National Laser, it's accredited school. A lot of these schools were not even accredited, or they kind of opened Pandora's box, right? So what happened was you guys made this a law to do a chemical peel or a hydrofacial, which was kind of just ridiculous from the beginning. But then you open up these little pop-up here and there, we started out with NEMA charging $6,000. Now there's the school for $2,000. Of course, everybody's going to go for the cheaper because who can afford anything at this point to do this? But again, I want to do a chemical pill. So guess what? I got to learn laser, which has nothing to do with the two. When we did meet with NEMA, I met with Matt Brinton and his wife. No answer for me. When I asked the esthetician wife, she said, I go, what is the difference between a chemical pill and laser? She couldn't answer me. And I educated her. I said, you're welcome. I just educated you what the difference is. No clue.
Yeah.
So again, it was all about money, people. This boils down to your money going in their pocket, because at the time when he was pushing this, he was the only one ready to go. Do you realize that? He was the one that was ready to go. Hey, come sign up for my school, 5Gs. He knew it. And he knew he was bound to be rich off of this, right? He was already a wealthy man. To go to his school was beautiful. Had top line, everything. I seen it from my own two eyes. Beautiful school. Yeah, he needs a lot of students to make up that money. Okay. So that right there was crazy in itself. Endermology, to speak to her, I actually have the EPG machine too. I agree with you 110%. That is all lymphatic drainage. There's nothing going on, okay, with that. If you did the training for that, the board needs to take everybody's cases. And I know it's a lot to ask because there's a lot of us, but there needs to be individuality between each esthetician, each person doing things, because I have different training than her, all the way down the road. You have new girls coming in, that are learning. And now we have this board like halting any kind of 75-hour course right now. So you might be in the middle, right, of training. I think I got an email saying they weren't going to be honoring or doing those right now. Just concerns me because I'm, like I said, 34 years in, I have a niece that graduated in Arizona, esthetician, and it worries me that these young women coming into this industry are really going to get the short end of the stick because they went to school. She paid $15,000 to go to school. And I know that he's trying to push this in Arizona, so I'll be dealing with the legislative in Arizona too. So I'm on that right now too. So again, I'm all over the place because I'm just fighting for the fairness of this bill. Was never fair from the beginning. I feel the board, like I said, pushing it on, oh, it was a legislator. I get it. It goes, I learned a lot. I feel like laws weren't our thing, but we had to learn it. So yeah, it goes to legislative, then they vote on it and then it gets passed and you guys have to do something with it. You can't just sit there and go, well, we don't want to touch that. I get it. But I feel like there could have been more done. And now we're just dealing with the backup of all this. And now we're like, right, now what do we do? So to clean up the mess, I feel like there needs to be more communication, definitely individual cases. Everybody should be like, okay, I want to do this. Okay, so what is your training? What did you go to school for? Again, I think it just boils down to this, like I said, Matt Brinton and this whole legislative bill really screwed us all up. And anybody that goes to school is ridiculous because I talked to the owner. She didn't know what she was talking about. I'm like, are you serious? Like, just answer me a simple question. When I can't sit there and have a conversation, I used to talk with doctors. My doctor's telling her, you can sit and talk with the doctor and talk skin because you know what you're talking about. Great. I don't want to sit here and try to educate somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and they're running a school. Okay. So my problem with that is this was, like I said, just a horrible thing from the beginning. It needs to be fixed with communication, individuality, and each case by case, who has what training, who you work for, what did you do, how did you learn this? Because again, if you don't put into your education, you do not really care. It's a passion of mine. I've been doing this for so long. It's what I've done since I started school here in town. So when I was 16 years old, I've been doing this since I was a teenager and I graduated. I was too young to even take the state board. I had to wait to take the state board. So I get it. I get passion. I get people wanting to do this, but at the same time, the board needs to be a little bit more accountable. And you have all our emails, all our numbers. All it would take is a mass email. Hey guys, just guess what? Legislator's gonna, vote. You better come down. And we'd love to sit there and go through that. But again, the only reason we know about anything is because of our senator that we work with. So we like to get a group together to kind of get this in place and have somebody to just give you informing you what's going on with this is your livelihood. And this bill has ruined. I know estheticians that said, screw this, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm done. This is too much, because it is too much. You already learned this curriculum. If you go to your cosmetology or your esthetician or what have you learned in school and you go back, if they taught, I just talked to my niece about this. Did they teach you this? Did you teach? And I'm going down the list and she's like, yeah. So why can't I do this outside without having an advanced aesthetic license. It's ridiculous. So again, advanced things like laser, absolutely, you should be trained in laser 110%. But what the board allowed to do is these people to open up these 75-hour courses at cheaper rates and open Pandora's boxes. I bet you half of those girls don't even know what the heck a laser, what it really does, have no idea. And I know this because I've spoken to several of them. So there needs to be change with that. And again, on a case-by-case basis, I think that's the only way we're going to get out of this mess, because it's a mess. And, you know, again, clarification on things like your machines that you can use, microchanneling versus microneedling. And is somebody on the board educated enough to do this? I don't know. As far as what I can tell, I'm going to say no, because I watch the board meetings. I try to attend them live online, but if I don't, I watch them, and some of the stuff I hear, I'm just jaw dropped. Really, they said that. I mean, I'm really shocked. So for me, I just feel like there's a lot of change that needs to happen, but it's going to start with communication. Mass emails saying, hey guys, this is going on, keep it. So it's our choice. If we don't show up, well, that's on us, right? So again, ladies, please pay attention. This is happening to all of us. It's going to affect your livelihood down the road. I laugh because I feel like I'm on the tail end of my career, but I have 20 more years of me easily. So I see myself doing this until I can't do it anymore. So it is important for us to stay communicative, but also pay attention to your industry, because this should have never happened from the beginning, but it did. And here we are.
Yeah.
So
Here we are. Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. Anybody up north?
No comment in the north.
I just want to add to people's comments. If you have some specific ideas to help us draft regulation, we would love it. We are hearing about comments, which is great. We appreciate that. And I believe that the reg is on our website, correct?
Yes, and we
So
can.
you can actually go to the reg itself and actually propose changes to it. So that would really help us. We want to
Where
hear
for that? I'm sorry.
We can pull it.
Where can we go to do that?
our website.
We can pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on our website. So you can actually read the regs. And I know that the regs are drafted by lawyers, okay? So we know that. That's just the way the law is drafted. Well, the law is drafted by lawyers. No offense, but that's just the way it's done. And because we have constitutional law and all that other stuff, right? So the legislature gets the law, drafted, or has the idea, but they have lawyers over the legislature that draft this stuff, legalese stuff, right? So we come with the ideas based upon the industry, so you can help us write it. But then again, then it goes to the lawyers to make sure everything's done right appropriately. The same thing with regs, the same exact thing. The regs are drafted by us through the board with comment and with ideas from the industry. And then we put that together and we send it over to the Legislative Council Bureau. That's the legislators' attorneys. They have to see the regs. We can't just do a reg here and the board approve it. It has to go through that process. Again, it's a long, wonderful process. And then it comes back before the board to approve in another public hearing that you all will have, definitely another opportunity to give comment so the board can make, an informed decision. So we want that from you. We would love to have that from you. If you guys have ideas, mark it up and send it to us. So
Where did the reds come from the beginning? Because years ago, you couldn't even teach, you couldn't pay people to teach them unless you were a licensed instructor. We used to be able to use Lancets, but because now that draws blood, it's been, which I understand that. If you are a licensed cosmetologist and you do aesthetics, you can do a scalp massage. Now, if you are an esthetician, you can no longer touch the scalp. So it's very touch and go. So when I'm teaching my class, if I have a cosmetologist who wants to specialize in aesthetics, I can teach them the scalp massage. Or if I have a massage therapist, I can teach them scalp massage, but my estheticians, they have to sit and watch me teach how to do the scalp massage, but they can't do it. So I think, I'm sorry, what was your name? Eleanor. Eleanor. what she was saying is, that is a little confusing when you have those little loopholes here and there. So where are the reds coming from if we weren't aware to even give our insight on how we feel about the red? Where did the red originate from?
It originates from the agency, from us.
From you, okay,
Yes, from over the years.
okay,
Hearings are held,
Yes.
just like, because it's a formal process.
right,
It has to be done,
right,
just like we're doing here. This is a workshop. We're already supposed to do is take comment, and all your comments will be incorporated into the changes in the regs.
okay,
And then we send it over again to
To the
the legislature, and then it comes back to the board at another public hearing, whereas actually the board members have to all attend. Workshops, they don't. This is just your forum here,
right.
okay? So then you get another chance to take a look at it again. And we'll send out a mass blast again to you all. That is my promise to you, okay? So we're following the process, and I think it's a good process, right? It's transparency in government. You know, I can't apologize for past transgressions because I wasn't here. But what I can assure you is that I am transparent. I'm talking to you. I've met with several of you all individually. I've had meetings with you all,
Yes,
1, 2 hours. My door is open. If you have questions, I'm here to try to answer them and to serve you. Okay? So anybody up north?
I just have a comment. So I just wanted us to be clear, the law is the law, but the regulations is where we're trying to do the modifications for. So as was stated, if you can make those comments to help assist the staff with what's needed, because when it gets to LCB, they kind of put their legal twist to it, but at least we'll have something already structured. And that's what we've done from the last town hall. To make these changes here, we took in consideration everything that was actually discussed to add to the regulations so far. But I don't know how many more changes, and I don't want us to start promising something that we're not really sure, because I know in the Senate, they're going to be actually starting to, I think did it move out of Senate and is going to Assembly?
Yeah, it's not there yet. We should have a full vote within the probably next week or so. When it gets voted out of the Senate, the statute, the bill. This is regs, totally different, right? But the legislature doesn't deal with the regulations.
They deal with the law,
They deal
so
with
the law.
So the law may change, okay? You don't know yet, don't know. So I always tell everyone when I've met with them, I like sausage. But sometimes you know what comes out of the legislature. But I do like a good taste of sausage.
yes.
So, I like bacon too, sorry. So, but that's what happens sometimes, right? It is this process, legislative process, and sometimes, I know that Eleanor brought up, the prior bill, in 2021, SB 291. Well, that is law now. I mean, we're trying to fix that. So I don't even mention 291 anymore because it's no longer in existence. It's a law. It's gone. It's law. It's on the books. It got passed. It got signed into law by the governor. So 291 is gone. We gotta look at what we're doing now in the 2023 session to try to remedy, to try to fix what happens. I talked to a lot of legislators, a lot of them. And they say sometimes, unfortunately, it takes 2 and 3 sessions to try to fix something that had unintended circumstances, because you meet every other year. We don't meet all the time. The legislature doesn't meet every year like other states, because we are a small populace here, 3-point-something million people. And the taxpayers here, we're citizens, have voted to only allow them 4 months every other year. And they don't get paid very much. They take time out to become elected. They get paid very little, right, for their time, but they are impacting the public, right? We vote them in, and they're willing to serve. So, that's kind of the issue for us, because just timing wise, we meet every other year. So it takes us a little time to try to remedy what happened in the past session. And that's what we're trying to do this session. And hopefully we'll get more right. And then hopefully, like I made promises, 2025, hopefully it'll be perfect. Okay? That's the fingers crossed, okay? They already checked up north? Anybody up north?
No comments.
Here.
Okay.
Are you all aware if the state of Nevada has anything to do with like the Minnesota rules? Because I'm in the class for instructor course, and I know that I saw something, and I believe it was on the back. They basically at the very end of the laws and rules for the licensing instructor in the state of Minnesota. And I was just wondering if you guys had any idea, because I feel like if Nevada has anything to do with Minnesota laws and rules, then that should be good on my behalf, because their mobile salon compliance is totally different. It makes it very easy for us licensees, if we want to go ahead and get that business started. It's not as difficult as the compliance here. You know, they have, like here, for instance, they want you to have 100 gallon of water tank on your mobile salon. That's a very large portion of water, you know. I'm not gonna use 100 gallons of water a day. You know, the Minnesota rules, they don't even give you an amount of water. It's whatever you feel you need on your mobile unit. Your mobile unit is comfortable enough for you and whoever you feel like, you know, your services. They don't want you to have a 24-foot big old bus. They don't even give you a size. They say, you know, whatever unit that you're gonna be using, as long as it meets a certain compliance, which is totally different from these rules over here. So I'm gonna shoot that over to Lauren and have her do that, and maybe we can try and, you know, collaborate some of that information, and that, I believe that would be a great help for me, you know, and some of the other future upcoming mobile salon owners.
Sure, thank you so much for that comment. We do have your petition, so the board will be seeing it,
Yes,
and staff will do their due diligence and research, of course, communicate with you,
sure.
and then we'll get that to the board for them to review.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for the idea, saying, hey, you guys want to look at Minnesota's regulations?
Yes,
We're definitely willing to do that. We do have reciprocity with every state.
exactly.
So,
Yes.
but we're looking at that, but some things don't mesh one-to-one,
Exactly.
right? So sometimes it has to go before the board to make the decision, if it can be met. Okay.
I understand. Thank
Can I
you.
ask one quick question as well?
Okay.
Okay, so you want estheticians to be involved and you want us to get ideas, make the suggestions and these types of things. Okay, so we understand now we're already behind the curve and trying to make suggestions. We had a senator involved to help us try to push that to the person that wrote the bill. And not to bash her, but my thing is, you're an educator in a school. You have no idea about what we do. So we attempted on multiple occasions to get appointments with her, to email her, to phone her, as well as the governor, to impose our information and to ask you as a legislature, where we are paying your salary and you're supposed to be representing us with these bills, as you being a woman who is really stunting the growth of other women's businesses.
Yeah.
When we cannot get a response. So you say we don't want to be involved.
You couldn't.
One, you can't be involved in something that you don't know about. Then when you know about it and you're trying to bring corrective change to educate someone, and then they don't communicate, this is where you have people that come in here, like me, and go off about the same thing time and time again. And when you say we point the finger at the board, because again, who is really representing us? Because we really got hung out to dry here.
Yeah,
There was
absolutely.
really no one looking out for us, but you have no problem taking our money. And you'll find us in a heartbeat. Okay, but you know, we can't work the very second that our license lapses. But
Would you like to,
who is representing us?
sure, would you like me to,
No, because I've already, I'm kind of beating a dead horse at this point because I've already stated this time and time again. Again, we can't get a response back from Ms. Lang, can't get a response back from the governor. So who is actually hearing us? Because it's kind of like we're talking, but it's not going anywhere.
Can I make a comment, just a comment to that? So like when they have that Senate review committee, like they just had a Senate review committee 2 weeks ago, regarding this information, it was a whole Senate committee that you can speak to, not just the one senator. All the committee members are there together. So if you've given this same information to the Senate committee, now you have multiple senators that sit on that committee that's listening to your call. Not just the one.
Why we didn't have this information out at first, that this is what we had to do.
I think piggyback on what you're saying, I mean, I've been an esthetician for over 15 years. I think that one thing that we're lacking, back when we went to STEM school, I don't know about now, they don't teach us anything about owning a business or how to get a business started. So you kind of make a lot of mistakes. Here I am after 15 years coming in and learning about this, because I think this is great. I know some people are really upset. I think this is how we also learn, but it would be nice in school to get taught about everything as a business owner, not just to do the services that you do on your own. It's always about grades and get your money in and all that, which is great, but like how to be an esthetician, how to start your own business, how to be a part of even a medical spa or a regular spa or renting a room.
That depends on your instructor.
Well, I'm saying 15 years ago, we didn't have that.
No,
So-
but that depends on your instructor.
So, but like I said,
That depends on
like,
your-
in
because we
other, from, all the girls I know, most of us do not have it.
Right.
But I think that should be part of schooling. If it's not, I think it should be.
But
a part of
normally
it.
during the Nevada law, when you take the Nevada law classes and the instructors are teaching the Nevada law, they kind of talk about that legislative process. I mean, some of them do, I mean.
Okay, because
It depends on the
we do
instructor, but really to be heard and not just with that one senator that you've been trying to reach out to. When they have the next hearing, then you just, and they can, maybe that we can send out some type of emails to blast to say that this bill is being heard. And then you can be heard by the whole Senate committee, not just one senator that particular senator sits on.
Because we are not governmental people. That is not in our, so this is all new for a lot of us, especially those of us who've been around.
We don't feel looked out for. We
Yeah.
really just feel it's just a money grab. And that's all it has come down to is money.
So if
money,
we
money.
can we do that, executive director, maybe you can send out a blast email for the next Senate committee. So when they're discussing the licensees of this particular bill here, you can speak.
Well, I think
I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is a workshop, and we're going back and forth, and you can't get your comments to assist us in changing the regs. And that's what we're here for. We're here to hear your comments. I'm here to explain the process. I'm a process kind of guy, but definitely your comments were being heard, they're being taped, they're being noted here, and of course we want your name, so that we can do that. But let's keep focused on doing what we're here today, of what we've been, according to the open meeting law, what we have noticed to the world, what we're doing today. And this is a workshop to get comments from you all, And that's why we have the sheets of paper. If you make comments, please come up, and we're more than willing to listen to you. I know I feel bad that you feel like you've been beating a dead horse. Unfortunately, that is the process, is to keep on pushing, keep on trying, because you have a new guy here. You have a new guy
We're
here.
gonna run out of money by the time we put it
Well,
together.
Yes, so let's keep on going.
Can we do this? Can we just go ahead so they can see the regulations and what that's imposed right now?
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to do.
Are we going to make second public comment?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to come up.
I just want to, I don't want to talk out of order.
No, you're doing good.
All right, again, I'm Sharona Shelton. Just in response, I know a lot during public comment, normally during board meetings, I've been a part of a board before. I just want to extend some grace, because I know normally in a board meeting that you all do not respond to public comment as per board regulations. You do not have to respond to public comment. So I can definitely appreciate the fact that you are taking time out to do that. So I just want you to know that I do see that, and I do know that normally you are not, to my fellow constituents, you are not supposed to get a response back during public comment, and that's just the way that board works. I also really want to encourage my fellow estheticians to, I know that we are very passionate about our industry, and that's why we're here. But back to my original statement, we must talk facts and not feelings. People can argue with feelings all the time.
Yes.
People cannot argue with facts. Factually, a lot of us know what we are doing in this field, and that is why we are here. And as long as we lead with that, we always have the upper hand because we are knowledgeable and we are passionate about the industry. But when we get in our feelings, we can get shut down and we can get, when we take things personal, or we only talk about ourselves. This is about all of us. And when I get up here, I'm talking about all of us, okay? Because at this point, we are putting estheticians in Las Vegas, not the rest of the beauty industry, but estheticians at a disadvantage as small businesses and in the state of Nevada who prides themselves on small businesses, especially women businesses and minority-owned businesses. People are going to start going outside of Nevada to work and to move. Women who have been doing this for 30-something years, that they cannot sustain. What are they supposed to go do now? You know, go to school. As it relates to someone said, her comment about instructors and schools, again, instructors need better CEU courses. They're a joke. I have an expectation that the board should have been regulating those CEU courses. I took them, I didn't learn anything. School responsibility. There's a lack of school responsibility in teaching. The schools, me personally, I've been asked to come back and teach in schools. I have chose not to. And the reason why is because the schools do not understand why I don't want to work full-time. I do not want to work full-time at a school because I need to be in the field, practicing my skill set, showing my students that I am continuing to work hard to develop my skill set in order to teach them. If I do not do that, if these new students, if they do not see me working, they will go to YouTube, they will go to Instagram, and they will learn skills. They have to see that I'm actively doing that. And unfortunately, the schools and the owners, they don't get that part. So they miss out on great educators such as myself. The students that I taught, I have 100% pass rate. Every student that I've ever taught is a licensed esthetician. Awesome. And I stand on that because I taught them how to be leaders in the industry because I am passionate about their learning. I don't gatekeep. That's what I want to talk about school responsibility, school regulations. We do need to go into the schools more, especially with this, with the aesthetics, ensuring that the instructors are taking appropriate CEU courses, that they are saying that the schools have the supplies that the estheticians need to do the job. And if they don't get to charge a student $10,000 to come in. You don't get to do that and not have the tools necessary in order for these students to perform their jobs or the instructors to be able to teach properly. This field is built on skill set and integrity. I really want it to win, but we are starting to be like, well, I don't want to be an esthetician no more here in the state of Nevada because why? I just spent X amount of dollars to become an advanced esthetician, and now I can't perform this because the people who are writing the laws are you all who are regulating laws, and this is respectfully, do not know how to practice these skills that you are regulating, and you are doing us a disservice by not reaching out and knowing. I am here now, and I am here to help. I am here again to be resolution-based. I am ready to rock and roll, and that's what we need to do. At this point, it's time to rock and roll. Like you said, the bill was already passed. I think it's a great bill. There should have been advanced aesthetics regulation, but it needs to be consulted with the right people.
Yes. Good job.
Thank you for the comment.
Kind of see what the changes are.
Anybody up north?
No comment at this time up north.
Which wants to go through? Okay. Go through all of them. And we're going up on the comments for a second. We're gonna go through this rather quickly. Because I think the bulk of this is the estheticians.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the chapter's a little bigger, right, than the estheticians, but we'll go through some of the changes that we're recommending to get rid of some duplications. If you did attend the March 6th hearing for our report that goes to the governor of getting rid of regulations, doing a report on that, a lot of it will be the same, will be being taken out of our current chapter, okay? Okay, I'll hand it off to Janie.
Yes.
Yeah, Janie will handle it. She's our chief compliance officer.
So we're gonna go through what the board staff has already proposed. It's like a jumping off point for the regulations. There, prior to what's in blue, there were no regulations for advanced aesthetics. So we'll go through that, and then the comments going forward will hopefully be specific. Everyone's saying that there should be regulations, but no one's saying specifically what those regulations should be. For example, down when we get to it, you'll see that there are regulations for continuing education curriculum. So if you see something that you think should be improved upon, added, removed, that's what you should be saying in your comment. Say that, you know, the continuing ed should be doubled or something to that effect, but we'll start going through, and if afterwards you guys want to make specific commentary, then that would be helpful so we can add it into this to send to the LCD. So the first change that we have is the addition of a definition of a dispensary sink. We've added that it should be a permanently plumbed sink equipped with hot and cold running water for cleaning and hand washing that is separate from the restroom or shampoo bowl. This is essentially what we already require, but it's helpful to have it in law. We've also added the definition of a exhaust system. Again, there's questions about that for salon owners, so we've added that definition in to be more helpful. Anytime that you see red, means that we're requesting that that be removed. And that's just for clarification purposes in that particular one. And then some of this is very simple additions, like this is for speaking about schools of cosmetology. When this definition was originally written, there were only schools of cosmetology and not like schools of nail technology or aesthetics. So this just says any branch thereof. If you want, I will skim through those so you don't have to hear all of the mundane changes. So right here, we have a definition for living layers of the skin. This will help define some of the scope of practice and the limitations for advanced aesthetics. What we have right now is the living layers of the skin are live cells, surrounding tissues, example, connective tissue with the epidermis, dermis, and subcutis, including hair follicles, granular structures. Living layers of the skin include the stratum corneum. So this doesn't have to be a textbook definition. It's going to be used for our purposes to regulate things. So if anyone has some sort of suggestion about that sort of thing, that is what we're looking for now. So the next change we have speaks to makeup artists and threaders. We're proposing to change their expiration date to the date of issuance as opposed to 12/31. That will give them a full calendar year for their registration as opposed to it not being prorated. Right. And then some of this, you're just going to be seeing the different license types that aren't included in different fees. This addition speaks to deferring your expiration date in certain circumstances. As it stands, Nevada, if you do not renew your license, you get a $20 a month per month for every month you're late fee on your license. This will give folks that are military or spouse of military or people who want to put their license or registration essentially on pause. They can fill out paperwork to stop those late fees. This is just the schedule of fines for examinations. This is making changes to how we send your license certifications to other states. This license is proposing changes to the limited license and calling it a special event license. for those who practice limited services outside of a licensed cosmetological establishment. This is an outdated law that speaks to when cosmetology went from 1,800 hours to 1,600 hours, so we've asked that it be removed. This is speaking to incomplete credit hours. We're just asking for clarification for when the hours expire for students enrolled in cosmetology schools. This is adding different license types into the regulation and removing obsolete ones out, and removing the requirement to submit hard photos for your renewals or for applications. This is allowing for people with an ITIN number to submit for licensure in Nevada. This is all. This is requiring instructors to take a subject of advanced aesthetics for their CEUs. This speaks to the exams, the theory exams, and how what they need to provide to enter the exam, and how the scores are sent to the schools. This is just making modifications to the exam, requiring that blood exposure be included on the practical and theory exams. This is making modifications to the aesthetics exam, including facial machines and electricity to be on the exam. This is creating the requirements of examination for an advanced esthetician, because there are no requirements at this time. So this is what will be in law for the theory and practical exams for an advanced esthetician. This is the requirements for a hair braider in the regulation for what will be covered on their examination. We're making modifications to the law exam, because in law it says 40 questions and we only test you on 25. This speaks to different languages and how they can be requested for your theory exam.
Did that say electrolysis?
It says electrology.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And it's just to add them in. You'll see why later on.
Okay.
This changes the requirement for an electrologist or electrologist apprentice to have completed the 10th grade, not the 12th grade. They're required to have completed 12th grade for some reason, where every other license type is not. This is speaking for apprenticeships, these law changes. We've removed the requirement that an apprenticeship application would be approved not within 30, but now 10 business days. This is all speaking to apprenticeships. So just modifying the application process. It's including electrologists into the provisions for apprenticeship because they have their own, which we've removed to streamline. But this is all for an apprenticeship for everyone that would participate in that type of program. Again, this is still all the apprenticeship regulations. So this is the equipment that an electrologist apprenticeship would be required to have on site should they offer that. All of this was taken from a different section and just moved into one complete section, so it's streamlined. Again, this is the same thing. This just speaks to electrology apprenticeships. It was moved from another section. Again, more changes, streamlining everything about the apprenticeship program. I can actually this is where everything was removed and then all of that blue was taken from here and put into the one section for easy reading. We did add in this regulation that there will be no more than 2 permits for instructing and supervising an apprenticeship inside a cosmetological establishment. So now we're into the section that kind of deals with the regulations about salons. This speaks to the supervision that would be required by an advanced esthetician. This just goes into detail about when you would need that supervision. So you would have to have a collaboration agreement on file with us, and that this speaks to when it needs to be terminated. It's essentially everything that's already in place, just written out in regulation. You need to have the signage that says that it's not a medical facility, but we've also gone into more detail based on some feedback that we've had from different places that some of them are medical facilities. So it states that the service is not being performed by some sort of medical staff. So this is the regulations we have for the supervision. Again, nothing is really changing about that because it's set in law that the supervision is required, but these are the details for when you would need it, how you would prove it. The healthcare professional must be readily available to provide. It's kind of speaking to what the healthcare professional would need to do. So they would have to be there to perform care or life-sustaining treatments should the event call for it. These are duties and qualifications for a supervising physician. These were similar to what's already in their statutes for supervising anyone. Just that they would have to identify themselves, that it would give us the ability to release that information. It's public information already for a doctor, whoever they're supervising, for that to be released. So this would just kind of go under how they already are supervising. This language is to make it easier for individuals who are dual licensed. They don't have to be walled off, doored off. Should they have like a massage treatment in the same room, we've added this licensing or this regulation in to make that streamlined for establishments that have services that are from different boards, whether it's barber, massage, medical.
What NRS number is that, Janie? Sorry.
That is NAC 644A.510. And we've just proposed, this should be blue, that it's, otherwise separated or be operated by an individual who is dual licensed. So hopefully that makes it easier for businesses that are. Yeah, sorry, some of this is boring, but honestly, a lot of this feedback came from you guys. So hopefully you will be pleased with it once we get to like the meat of it. This speaks to inspecting during normal business hours. This is something that's already in the law. What we've just tried to streamline about when to enter or not to enter different areas to avoid, private interrupting services to avoid that. This is regulations proposed for governing sanitary conditions in threading establishments. There are no regulations for threading establishments. Like they're not required to have a sink or no restroom, nothing that speaks to like their single-use items. It's hard for us to regulate them. So we're trying to create some regulations to ensure that they have
Proper sanitation
and facilities to allow that. This is where mobile establishments are governed. So we don't have any proposed changes except for this one that just says if the application is denied or the application is closed for 12 calendar months, then the application will be denied. That doesn't make sense. So we asked that it was removed. But should someone at the end of this presentation have a specific comment that they would like, whether it be speaking to the holding tank, the measurements, this is how that would get heard, where we could make modifications. So we don't have any currently. I guess we do have a couple, but like your itinerary would be submitted within 48 hours upon our request as opposed to all the time. I think that's it.
Yeah, here's.
We've, yes, go
Could
ahead.
you say that where that mobile cosmetological establishment, NAC 644A, you said that that's a section that, starting at that point, just go through that section.
Right. So you probably would want to speak to 570, 575 maybe, and then I'd have to go back and look. I think it's 565.
NAC.
Five, six. That's in 565.
Thank you. 565.
I don't think so.
The size
It
of
might
it
be.
is number 6.
But it should-
So
it's just
7 to
here.
8 feet wide and the ceiling height of at least 6 feet and be at least 24 feet long. So that's where
It's not NAC, it's not NRS.
it's not an
not
NRS, it's an
knowledge.
NAC. That's why she can petition for the variance. So if you wanted to make a suggestion to change that permanently to lower, then this would be the
This
time
would
and
be the
place to do
forum
it.
for sure, yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
So this is a new regulation that we've proposed, and it does speak to the owner of the establishment and all the licensees employed, that they ensure that their licenses are posted in a manner that's readily identifiable by board staff, as well as in plain view of the public. The reason for this is sometimes the inspectors have to putz around to get your license number or your name or your photo. So just to ensure that it's properly posted. So now these are the regulations that govern a school of cosmetology and then all of the branches thereof. So this first blue item that we've added in speaks to the square footage of a school for advanced estheticians. This one speaks to a school of electrology. And then these go down for requirements. This is speaking to their time clock. And then just the requirements that they have for equipment. So some of this in these sections are really just to clarify, like this says 2 facial chairs. Some students in schools were confused about that, so we changed it to a treatment table. But again, so should someone have a suggestion about equipment or things pertaining to schools of cosmetology, they would want to look up the applicable regulation to speak to that. This is still a school of cosmetology, I believe. So we're adding in different equipment so that they can cover advanced aesthetics. No, actually. So
regular.
for aesthetics, there has been discussion about allowing microneedling into, so some of this, or dermaplaning, some of this equipment would be required for them if that's what ends up happening with the scope change. This is for a school of advanced aesthetics. This is the requirement for their supplies and equipment. This is everything they would have to have, all of the machines. So if someone wants to make comment about that, this would be the place to do that. If this, and this is for an electrologist, this was from another section that we modified, just you'll see down below where we've removed it and pasted it back.
Wait, let's give that, it's NAC 644A.603. That is the minimum requirements for equipment. And it talks about,
Well, and it's fine if you don't know your exact NAC. I'm pretty good about going back and matching it up, but this is what we're here to do. So should you have a specific item that you think a school of advanced aesthetics should offer, this is the specific comment that you should make, and I can add it in and speak to the specific regulation if you don't know what it is. If you know it, that's great too.
So excuse me, Janie, can we speak to the lady's question about the curriculum? Because where it says a copy of the proposed curriculum.
Right, yes.
Mhm.
And the curriculum will actually be broken down in another section. So should you want something more specific to be required by law, say it, like say you want them to learn how to moonwalk for 40 hours, that's where you would make the comment. We'll add it in. If the LCD takes it, then they take it. If they do not, then they do not.
But we did, but the board did vote on a proposed curriculum last week.
Which we do, which I think we
For the
all
laser
agree that
course,
the new
just for the
curriculum
laser
is a
course.
little bit more standardized, but our thing is to make sure that some of the people that are teaching it are and are doing it the way that
Right,
some of
and
us
so when
are.
we get to continuing education, maybe that's where you can speak to it.
Yeah.
But it would have to be specific, right? So like, yes, something, that all licensees should be required to do continuing ed, and it should be this or that, like a specific suggestion is helpful.
Which I can I do a comment on the CEUs when we're done?
Yeah, anyone can make any more comment when I'm done. And then this is available on our website, like if you want to maneuver it on your phone, but under the agenda documents. So this is just more requirements for schools, what the registrars are required to do by law. Contracts with students. I know. I know, I'm better at just explaining the changes instead of going through them line through line.
Well, in your defense, I think it's a little easier the way you're explaining it, Jamie. It's a little bit more,
Yeah.
easier to understand than not all of us.
I know, you guys probably
Yeah,
can't even
so
do
I
that.
appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
This speaks to how many hours a student can clock per week, how much of it has to be theory, how much can be practical. If they miss their theory instruction for the day, what you can then do with them. This speaks to alternative format. So should we ever go to an online curriculum in the schools, this will speak to how the hours would need to be recorded and the cap on theory. This puts a ratio in place for schools of advanced aesthetics. It requires that not less than one licensed instructor to 5 students when commencing work on the public. Persons instructing, this is just if they're licensed. This allows a PIL to be considered an instructor for the purpose of that, as opposed to a student instructor. And then this requires a school to be under the School of Advanced Aesthetics to be under the supervision of a healthcare professional. And that they would execute that supervisory collaboration agreement. And some of this is to be determined. So there's talk about what those requirements should be for a medical director over a school, but they have not yet been written. So if someone had comment about that, then this would be the place to make said comment. This is speaking to time records. We've added a regulation that says if a school ceases to operate, that the final time record shall be immediately provided for all students to the board. So if a school goes out of business, we'll have those records and the students wouldn't have to be scrambling, right? In each of the sections, so this is where curriculum is. So this is your Cosmo curriculum, and then there's one for hair design, one for nail technology aesthetics, and there is one for advanced aesthetics. This puts a cap on, there's already a minimum for theory. This puts a maximum for theory. And so any changes to the curriculum in a school, you guys can make suggestions for that. We've added in some things for the curriculum for advanced aesthetics. We haven't gotten, or not, excuse me, for esthetician, we haven't gotten to that section, but the goal of our law and regulation change is to widen the scope of aesthetics to allow for LEDs, skin scrubbers, microcurrent, galvanic, all of that. All of those comments that we've received in the past, the goal is to allow that and include it in the curriculum. So they would be doing superficial exfoliation and allowing some of those devices to be taught in the curriculum. This is the curriculum for electrologists. It was moved from another place, so it's not really new. This is the curriculum for advanced aesthetics. So not for the laser course, because the laser course will be obsolete October of 2023. We do have a temporary curriculum in place for that laser course as of last Monday. But this is for ongoing for the actual schools that will teach the actual program for advanced aesthetics.
What's the number on that one?
This doesn't have a number because it's being proposed. It's not in regulation. So should you have something that you would like to see or not see, this would be the forum so we could evaluate that and add it in. As of right now, it just mirrors what's in law. It's not broken down by hours. So should you guys want to see X amount of procedures in the curriculum or
Excuse me, I have just a question. You said that the laser course that we took up is obsolete now?
obsolete October of 2023.
Okay, that's this year.
Yeah,
So the
correct.
people who've taken and paid the money to take.
Oh, no, that's not what I said. Sorry. Let me clarify, just so everyone
Okay, I'm
understands.
glad, that's why I'm clarifying.
You can
Yeah.
only grandfather in by taking that laser course up until
Okay, got you.
10
Okay.
October of 2023. After that
That's
date,
better.
grandfathering ends. So the 75-hour laser course is no more
Okay.
after that. If you have your license, you have your license.
Okay, okay.
There will be none of that. None of that. Are there any additional questions that came from that comment? I don't want any confusion over
The
that.
wrong word, obsolete. No, laser training is great.
Okay.
No,
October 1,
if you
it
have your
goes away.
license, if you have your license already, you took a laser course to get it, you're good to go. But after October, let me rephrase that. Grandfathering ends October of 2023. So should you have not chosen that path and gotten a license after October, it will be no more. And there won't be 75-hour laser courses because there will be no purpose for it. But once you have your license, you have your license. So sorry, I did not mean to
Thank
confuse.
you. Thank you.
Jane, can we make sure that, we can comment that all the schools get to look at their proposed? Because those are the ones that really need to be structured.
We emailed this to the and we also allow equipment for 1 week after today for.
Yeah, any comment. And I mean, for this purpose of this meeting, like they can, but the schools are always welcome to say whatever they think as far as those work. Our doors are always open
I
here.
don't see any schools here.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so.
For the credit of.
This speaks to anyone that wants to transfer hours. A student in aesthetics or a licensed esthetician who wants to enroll in an advanced esthetician program would get 600 hours or the amount that they took. We don't have one in the
Yeah, I think. We'd like to propose, right?
Right. A student, we've proposed that a student that is in cosmetology or a licensed cosmetologist that wants to transfer into aesthetics or advanced aesthetics be given 160 hours. So if anyone wants to make comment about that, we'll take that.
Say one more time, please.
So this is NAC 640, and this deals with anyone that enrolls in school, whether they're an actual student or a licensee. So if you're a licensed cosmetologist and after grandfathering ends, you want to then get an advanced aesthetic license, we will give you 160 hours towards that program. Whereas an esthetician will get either 600 hours or the actual amount taken. So a maximum of 600 hours. So should you guys have a comment about that, who gets what hours? This is for anything. So a student in nail technology gets, this is all defined by law. So if you guys have a comment about how hours are transferred, you can make that when I'm done with this presentation. This speaks to the required amount that a student can practice on the public in schools per week, and then how their breaks are dealt with.
I want to make a board comment there.
Yes, please.
And the change for number 4, it is NAC 644A.655, that the board has prior approval
before entering into the correctional facility. It needs to be prior approval,
Oh, okay,
okay?
yes. Wait, that's what it says.
It said that they without, it said there with inspections or other board business without advance notice. It needs to be advance notice.
Oh, at the bottom there, with
Oh.
advance notice.
Okay,
So change without with, okay.
like with the inspections, there needs to be advance notice.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's just to help with not coming in with work services, right?
Well, you can't go into the correctional facility.
It's for
without
the
permission.
prison schools.
It's in the Nevada Department of Corrections have to approve you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is for schools of electrology. They had their own rules. We've merged them into regular rules. So that's why they're redlined and that's why there were so many things that were speaking to schools of electrology. This is for different regulations for salons and schools. We've removed the requirement for drinking cups. I think we had to put that for one of these. And then any changes that anyone has to make, we've added some processes relating to being exposed to blood. So should someone have the need for lancets or needles or blades, that they be disposed in a labeled sharps container. This speaks to an exhaust system that just says that it must be comply with building codes, local ordinances, fire codes, and OSHA requirements. This speaks to dispensary sinks to clarify that their dispensary sink must be permanently plumbed and separate from the restroom and accessible to licensees at all times. This is your hand washing and sanitation sink, so we've just written that in to be more clear. This speaks to throwing away single-use items. This helps define some of that, and that all instruments, implements, and other non-porous tools, including but not limited to combs, this just adds in some things that are already in there to make it more clear for what items need to be disinfected. This just clarifies the disinfection process for a foot spa. This speaks to sanitation, how you would sanitize or disinfect your reusable implements. This speaks to electrolysis and applicable advanced aesthetic instruments. So anything that would come in contact with like blood, how it would be sanitized or sterilized. Same, this just goes into more detail about sanitizing some of the, and sterilizing some of the equipment that would come into contact with blood. This speaks to different products and that they need to be labeled. Again, just more labeling and how to disinfect, more items that need to be disinfected. This speaks to a licensee shall not perform any service on the surface of the skin or scalp of a client where the skin is inflamed, infected, broken, or otherwise compromised. This is restrictions of the removal of skin. So this speaks to the SDs and the Cosmos doing skin services. This is allowing, the new changes will say a cosmetologist or an esthetician may not remove any portion of the skin beyond the stratum corneum. So it will no longer say the uppermost layers of the skin. We're giving you a specific layer and removing the epidermis of the skin pursuant to this section may only be. This allows you to use implements only intended for the use by a cosmetologist or branch thereof. And we've removed this line that says that affect anything beyond the uppermost layers of the facial skin, and allowing it to be the stratum corneum. This should help with some of the products that you guys want to use to exfoliate. If it's commercially available to you guys, you should be able to use it. So this speaks to estheticians and cosmetologists, non-advanced, wanting to do, some deeper levels of exfoliation.
The number 2, the A, where it says, maybe product implements, only intended by the cosmetologist, shouldn't I say cosmetologist and esthetician, or no?
It does say, or an esthetician.
A.
2A.
2A.
2A. It says it right here. A cosmetologist or an esthetician, A, may only, is this what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it says cosmetologist or esthetician, and then they may use this or shall not mix.
On A, it only says by cosmetologist.
In blue, she's speaking of, right where you're, right above your cursor, Jeannie, to the left.
Oh,
Yeah, right there.
it says cosmetologist or branch thereof.
That means
So it'll speak, to anyone. And then this is, again, speaking to the prohibited invasive procedures. This is allowing you guys to do your allowing LED skin scrubbers, microcurrent, so removing that provision against the electricity, and then speaking more about like the stratum corneum. So any other services that you guys, depending on the scope of practice that you want to suggest, that would be where we're going. But that's the goal, is to allow LED, skin scrubbers, microcurrent, galvanic.
Can I get that, at around, what was 644A?
790.
That one also speaks. to
Yeah, up
the-
a little bit, 7.
Yeah, but we didn't. So that has to be removed.
Could you scroll up just a tad, Jenny? I would, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, 790.
790, perfect. Thank you so much.
And then this kind of speaks to more of like the line that's drawn for an advanced esthetician. That they're prohibited from performing any ablative services. So no scarlet microneedling, no skin tag removal, nothing ablative. And it just helps further define ablative procedure. But again, anything that you guys want to suggest about this, we're here to hear it. This speaks to skin cutting equipment and for callus removers for feet. So this helps define out what they can and cannot have in nail salons. This is just clarifying some things for.
I had a question about that too.
Yes, please.
When you're speaking about that emergency license, like you want to kind of elaborate more, what is an emergency license?
This wouldn't be an emergency license. I think this speaks to like donated and emergency services like this. So should you, the emergency is not.
What do you mean emergency services?
That's a really good question, because what would that qualify as an emergency? You needed your hair done, but I guess you could argue it, right?
Well, somebody.
Right, I think that is what it speaks to, like if you had to go to a hospital and, help
Right.
help
But
somebody
like
out.
them in the mortuary, you can just go there because they have it already set up.
Well, maybe more for like hospital, or if someone's ill or something to that effect. I
So
don't,
they
because if it
reach
was,
out, do the licensee have to reach out
yeah.
to the board staff?
Yes, they've always had to reach out
Just
for
like
emergency donated
Yes.
services. It's not defined, but should you want to make a definition of emergency, we could probably have that in there if you wanted it.
I guess it's a case by case basis, but I just wanted to see what was the emergency.
I've never received one. We get them for donated services quite a
Donated
little, and we
services.
review them, but no, I've never seen
Maybe
one. for
donated
emergency.
services.
Yeah.
You probably don't even need this emergency service.
And we could consider, I'd have to check to see if there's anything about emergency practice in the law, but we could consider like
Okay.
removing that.
If it's an emergency, we don't have time to reach out to the staff.
Right, right, because you need prior approval. This is place of practice for hotels. We received a suggestion from many of the licensees and establishments inside of a hotel. they have to carry duplicate licenses to go do services in the hotel room. So this allows them through some verbiage that even though the confines of the establishment are the licensed establishment, but should they need to go up for in-room services, this kind of details that a little bit more.
So if someone wants to go to give out service at a hotel, they would have to contact you first?
This is
No,
for the
so-
employees that work inside the salon
Yeah.
at the hotel. So
A lot of them carry a limited license, so they have to have 2 licenses to go up, even though they're employed by the hotel. To go up to a room and do like a blow dry service, they have their regular like Cosmo license and a limited license. This
So
addition.
it's like a freelance license.
Well, not exactly a freelance license. This is really for the employees only of the establishment that gives them the ability to keep an itinerary and then go perform the services as an extension of that licensed salon in the hotel. So it's not for like anyone to just walk in. If people do that service, that kind of service, they need a limited license. This removes the requirement for someone employed by that hotel to need that limited license to go in and do like a blow dry or remove polish.
But do you need a limited license to go if you're not employed by the hotel?
Yes, any other individual, right, any other individual that was like going to do wedding hair at a hotel, you, by the letter of the law, are supposed to have the limited license, which is what those employees do, right? In the hotels, they get both. This is helping them so they don't have to carry that extra license. But
So
any
if I
other
wanted to
individual.
go wax
would do.
someone's legs at their house, I would have to get a limited license.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
If I would want to go and wax someone's leg.
No, actually, so the limited license is limited, like it's limited services. But essentially, if you did want to go to someone's house or do like a special events, yeah, you would need to carry a limited license, but you can do like hairstyling only, aesthetics, I think is only makeup.
Makeup only.
Nails is only like adding and removing polish, so like no acrylic, no full manicure, no cuticle pushing, it's very limited.
So I could not go to someone's house by your laws and wax their legs again.
No,
It has to be in a licensed cosmetology establishment.
right.
So, but as a licensed cosmetologist, we can go, or we have to still have that license, the limited license.
You have to have the limited license, but it's limited services. So if you're a cosmetologist and you hold that limited license, but you can't shampoo and blow dry. It's technically would be like an updo. So you can curl, twist,
Okay.
braid, pin. A cosmetologist would be able to do makeup application. They'd be able to remove and apply nail lacquer, but they wouldn't be able to do a color service or a hair.
No chemicals, no cutting, just simple styling.
So the limited license, how long is that?
It's
Is that
It's
just for
good
that
for
service?
1 year.
One
1
year
year,
from the
okay.
date that you purchased it.
And what is the
and
price on the limited?
It's $100.
And so in order to do, services in the home, like salon services in the home, what is required
So
for that? You
the
can't-
purposes of the limited license is for you to go out and do them. It wouldn't be allowing you to do them inside of your home.
Right.
There are separate requirements if you're looking to do an in-home salon. It has to be completely separated from the living quarters. Yes, and the entrance and exit.
Zoned business. zone.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a slew of additional requirements.
there's a lot.
Is there a reason that you cannot do these services that are, like, have a freelance license to go out and service people in their home?
It's just not in the law. And that, the limited license is already in law. The services are already in law. So we're just expanding on some of the provisions that are already written.
Because that's a strange law to me, because when I first moved here, when I lived in Colorado, you had freelance license, so you could go out to people's house and offer your services to them. And I don't see why we don't have a freelance license here in Nevada. I mean, big as the state is, and all these people that's moving here, some customers don't even want to come to salon.
Right, well, and the purpose of the limited license as well is you still have to submit your itinerary of where you're going, but if you have your license and you're actively licensed by us, the purpose of you working inside of a licensed cosmetology establishment is for us to be able to come in and regulate you to ensure that you are keeping up on your sanitation, your disinfection, the way you're disposing of waste, making sure that you have a restroom requirement, a dispensary sink requirement. Those requirements kind of go out the window and become very fluid and not all the same. when you allow for a freelance license, I don't know where you're working today, so I can't really truly regulate you and ensure that we're here for protecting the public safety of the public, right? To ensure that you are following all the protocols and procedures that you need to be following.
Understood. Okay. Excuse me, can I ask just one question on that language? The very last sentence, provide records upon request, bring licenses, et cetera, upon request in the room service log. What's the intent of that? I just find. So what, are we required to have a log?
So the intent of that is to ensure that everyone's in compliance, because if you're not required to bring a license, then that gives wiggle room for someone to not have their license. And it's to be clear, anytime you're providing a service on the public, your license should be posted, even if it's not in your actual normal place of business. So you should go up to prove I'm licensed, I'm able to do these services. The itinerary and the logs upon request are to ensure that it's not being abused, essentially. The goal of this particular provision is to assist businesses that are located in the strip properties. So it's not to allow outside people, so it would be at the establishment.
No, I from the casino, so that's why I just want to make sure with something like this, we're going to be required to keep a log that shows every time a cosmetologist does services in a room, they need to be logged, and then they should be bringing their license to the room.
Yes.
To show that that's what the intent
So
is.
based on the intent of that verbiage, yes, but should you have something that you want to add or modify at the end of this, that would be where, because we can fine tune that language more.
Just a board member comment, I think we should be very specific when it comes down to that limited license and the special event license. I mean, because or we just gonna leave it open. You can just do a special event anywhere and it doesn't matter.
No, it's pretty defined, like to a residence. I feel like that's in law. It has a list already, and we didn't make any changes to that. It already was in law and regulation about where you could do it and what the services are.
Yeah,
And the only modification we made, I think, was to clarify, because it speaks to makeup or something, so we clarified extensions, lash extension. Yes, we did.
Yeah. Well, and this speaks to the.
So a special event license, you can pretty much pop up anywhere and provide your service. Is that how that goes?
Let's
So
just
we
go.
just kinda, I think.
That's actually coming up. It's just down the
It's
way.
right here. Sorry.
So, this is what's already written. This speaks to what you're talking about. It says a private home of the individual receiving the service, because this isn't, the limited license isn't like it's not to skirt having your home license as an establishment. And we've just clarified that, or something that's been pre-approved by the director, but this is what it was already in law. They would do it at a resort hotel, a location for a wedding, a private home, convention center, fair, or festival.
And that's special event or limited?
It's the limited license, but we've proposed calling it the special event license.
What number is that under?
This specific one is 825.
825?
Yes.
So what we're saying is that the special event license is gonna be now the limited license, and they're gonna have an expiration for 1 year.
It already, yeah. No, yeah, it would be the limited, it would be the special event license.
1 year.
That's what it already is. We didn't make that. Oh, I think we did propose to change that it was by event only. And we lowered the fee.
We lowered the fee. I
To
think it's
25.
Right.
Yes, sorry, Gwen.
It's in there.
You know what this one? NAC 644A.825.
Let's propose the one, let's propose $25. Like, that's the apply.
Event by event, because if it's just a makeup artist, have a license,
They should be regulated a little bit more than just giving them a temporary limited license. to
Exactly.
Go to the casino to make.
No, we're gonna propose.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in there that the
Yeah,
fees
it
change
needs-
for it, that it's more temporary, so you have to submit your itinerary.
Can we revise it and make sure it's in blue?
Yes.
Okay.
So could that be an emergency? Just say, for instance, you do have someone contact you for a special event. They're getting married and their stylist or whomever they book would flake them. And then they contact me and they need the service right away. How does that work?
It would have to be approved by the board
You
through the
don't have time.
processes.
So.
You don't have time to be approved by the board if it's an emergency
And they're
situation.
getting married
Done
today.
inside of a licensed cosmetology establishment.
Huh?
Then the service should be performed in a licensed cosmetology.
You know,
establishment.
situations happen where it's instantly. Someone calls me like, my lady flaked on me and I'm getting married in 2 hours. They don't have time to come to no establishment. They want you to come to them. They are nervous wreck as it is because
Right.
they're married.
There's another comment, and then if that's something you want to propose, let's do it. I'm almost done with this presentation, and you can make your specific suggestions.
Let's go ahead and take your comment right quick. Go ahead.
Question, so can you clarify the license for special events? If you're employed by a casino full time and you're going to go do in-room services, do you have to have a special license?
As it stands by the letter of the law, yeah, you should hold a limited license.
And the casino's not gonna pay for that, right?
No, their employees pay for them as it stands. That's my understanding.
Separate.
So let me get this straight. You working in the casino as an employee for the Bellagio.
Yes,
You want to go up to someone's room and give them a service that Bellagio is establishing with the salon that you're working at. And you have to get a separate license to go up there. That's ridiculous.
well, that's why we're making these proposed
No, right.
changes to benefit those
Okay.
people. It's already in law that license is required, so we're proposing to streamline it and make it less restrictive. That was a suggestion.
With the casinos, and I used to work in plenty of them in the spas, it is least likely that you are going to, the people that actually do in-room services are normally the massage therapists
Yeah.
and not the estheticians.
Yeah.
So basically, all the casino front desk would do is say, we don't perform those services in-room, you have to come down.
Okay.
They're not gonna miss out on the money.
Yeah.
So that's just, but the casino's not gonna miss out on money, and clients and casinos pay for the experience. So that is the reason why they go down to the spa area to get those services done. And usually it's just VIPs, and a lot of times those are only massage therapists that go up to the in-room services, not cosmetologists. Or beauty services. That makes it clear from
Yeah,
experience.
can you hold your thought?
It applies for like salon services, correct? So make concerts and hairdressers. They have to have a separate license to go to the.
As it stands right now,
Yeah, these are
we're
proposals.
proposing to improve and streamline that. It was already,
How are you going to change that? And what are you proposing?
that's what, we're proposing that in a casino, any room that, even though you'll have your licensed establishment, that should they need to, that the establishment will apply to rooms within that property and the resort. Right.
Right.
Okay. Which means you won't have to get that separate.
So no extra license, that's what that means.
Yes, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
making it easier, taking away a license that's required.
Yeah.
We're proposing to get rid of that.
That's a good thing. That's wonderful.
All right, let's go ahead and let her finish. You only got like 10 pages left. We're almost done. And we'll get back to the comments.
This is just the schedule of fines. We've proposed a new violation for establishments that are operating without meeting the minimum or maintaining the minimum requirements for licensure. So they don't have an operating restroom, sink. There's a violation for that now. Failing to display medical facility signage. There's a violation for that. Failing to have healthcare supervision. So should you be found doing non-ablative medical procedures and you don't have any kind of oversight, you will be issued a violation. Just clarifying some of the violations. This is a violation for individuals that are teaching courses, classes, training sessions, et cetera, to individuals who are not licensed. There is a more specific and larger violation for that now. And then this is for prohibited devices or products found inside of an establishment. We've increased that for like when we find MMA in salons, things like that. There's not a clear violation for those prohibited items. We've made modifications to this section because it prohibits the use of the word advanced, expert, or medical in your advertisements. So the prohibition of that term doesn't apply to the advanced aesthetics license. I think that's pretty much it. This speaks to formal complaints and how they're submitted. And petitions received 30 or more calendar days from the issue date of the citation will not be accepted. And then that is it. So we can open it back up to comment, but you'll have to fill out a form so we can take records.
Let's keep on going down. To the back.
Jamie, can you talk about when you said that?
Yeah.
About the petition.
Come up.
That if you
Go back
petition
to
the
comment
board
and then
and board votes, they have to complete petition with information.
I think that's.
Yes, I think that is in there. If you petition the board, you'd have to supply new information or the item cannot be.
Yeah, if the board votes on the petition, no further action will be taken and the petitioner will be unable to re-petition.
No, but I need one.
Just restate your
Do you
name.
have your, will you fill out one? Okay, got it, I got it.
State your name for the record.
I got it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anahit and I own a laser salon here in town. Much of what I wanted to say has already been said today, so I'll skip over that part. But I think from a person who is working in this town, minority, female, communication, I think, is the biggest thing that's been lacking, and to no fault of anyone. You know, we know where we are. Where do we go from here? And just to give you specifically what has been the biggest challenge for me, I opened my laser salon in 2015. And at the time, we weren't regulated by the Cosmetology Board. And so, you know, we had to operate under a medical director, which we did, we complied. And legislature was introduced, if I'm not mistaken, January of last year, is that correct? And we weren't notified at all. Like, we had no idea. It wasn't until June of last year that I got my first letter from the Cosmetology Board. And it was just kind of it was very friendly, you know, very FYI, you need to have a salon license. But again, after the fact, right? We're finding everything out after the fact. And suddenly, like the ladies that were sitting here earlier, we weren't in compliance unbeknownst to us. And if it was before that we had to have done something else, we didn't know. You know, we're finding things out as we're going. And I called the Cosmetology Board and I asked, I said, hey, you know, what do I need to do? Because I don't want to operate, you know, unlicensed. And when I brought that up, I was told that it was my responsibility to check the Cosmetology Board website, but I wasn't governed by the Cosmetology Board until then, to my knowledge. So it's like saying all of a sudden I need to go on, you know, the plumber's website to see in case I might be, you know, governed by them. It wasn't a thing with the Cosmetology Board. So that's been, you know, one of the biggest challenges is always being behind the curve and not knowing what we're supposed to be doing. To hear today that there's a Senate committee that happened 2 weeks ago, that would have been something that would have been beneficial to know. I would have definitely participated. And that's a problem. Like, who is disseminating this information to us? Where should we be going? You know, because when I did find out about the advanced, and we weren't advanced estheticians at the time, when I went on the Cosmetology Board website, there was a wealth of information since 2019, but it seemed like it was a footnote. It wasn't, you know, and again, I wouldn't have otherwise gone there because I didn't know I was governed by said board. So that's, you know, communication. How do we improve that? I leave that to you guys because you guys all have our contact information.
That. I wanted to also talk about the 75-hour grandfathering and laser course. I know that it's going away in October, but as somebody who's been doing this since 2015, the fact that it's still happening right now is very concerning. You cannot learn what we know in 75 hours. You can't. It's very scary. And if you didn't go the 75-hour course route and you were working already, if you were working with a medical director, the medical director, if I'm not mistaken, needs to sign off on 150 hours. So a licensed medical professional that you're working on has to give you a notarized affidavit that you've been working under them for 150 hours, where somebody else who doesn't know lasers, doesn't know what they're teaching, the curriculum isn't refined, can give you that a doctor can't give you in 75 hours is negligent on whose ever part. I don't want to say on the board's part, but whoever allowed that to happen is negligent, in my opinion. I interviewed somebody last week. She was a very lovely girl because, I had to let one of my not advanced estheticians go, who's been doing this since 2018, because she's not compliant. And I interviewed a girl with an advanced license, and I asked her, I said, what laser did you use during your course? And she told me that she used the tattoo removal device for hair removal after her course. I asked her to skin type me. She was way off. Had she treated me with the skin typing that she said, it was very aggressive, she would have burned me. Okay. And then I asked her, I said, what are some contraindications for laser hair removal? And she asked me what a contraindication is. Followed by, when I told her what it is, she said she wasn't sure. I wasn't there to grill her, but I wanted to see what are people like, what investment do I need to make for somebody who's licensed, where I have to let somebody go who's not licensed when she could, laser. She's been lasering everyone safely for years. It's irresponsible. And I just wanted to let you guys know, you might not even be aware. I've invited the board to come. I'm upstairs. Come, it's very close to your office. Check us out. I'll be happy to tell you and advise you and guide you. And it's not just lasers. It's like, so many other things that these people are not prepared, and qualified individuals are being cut out of our industry because of the regulations that are in place. I spent 600 hours getting my esthetician license, learning about things that are completely irrelevant to my business. It was a waste of time, but I put my head down and I shut up to get the license so that I can do what I was doing for years. The grandfathering in should have always been for people like us who didn't have esthetician licenses, but were working in lasers, to be able to continue working, not stop us for 6 to 8 to 9 months from working to get an esthetician license and then submit my, laser school certificate to get my advanced. I think the grandfathering in process was wrong. The 75 hours shouldn't have been for people who have never touched a laser in their life. It should have been some sort of grandfathering in of people who were already performing lasers to bridge that gap that they weren't estheticians, but now the law changed. And how do we get these people to continue to work? I think we missed the mark there. And finally, no offense to anyone here, I don't think that the lasers should be governed by the Cosmetology Board, even though we're in compliance. I think they should continue to be operated under the supervision of a medical professional and should continue to be governed by the medical board. And these people who are here who don't even care about lasers shouldn't suffer. And we shouldn't have to spend hours and hours learning a trade that we're not doing. Is it great that I can do a facial now? Sure. Will I add it to my services? Sure. But did I ever want to? No. And they're two different worlds completely. And to your point, when you said 291 is gone, the laws are already in and whatnot, and we can't rewrite a new law. What we should think about is 2025, because the laws should, yes, we need to protect people because unregulated lasers are a very scary thing, but also the laws should serve the people, both the clients and the providers, and not just one school.
who's pushing their agenda. And we all know who that is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wait more?
No comments at this time.
Thank you so much. Wanted to definitely just reemphasize that this workshop is for the regs right here. There will be a general comment on anything that you guys want to talk about. We've kind of been loosey-goosey. Then you guys, branch off into areas that that's really not on the agenda. Especially like the 75-hour course, which I appreciate your comments, but that's not on the agenda and it is part of the law as it stands right now. And so it does go away October 1. And so we won't have to deal with 75-hour course anymore. Trust me, you guys aren't the only ones that don't want to deal with it. We don't either. So it goes away October 1. So let's focus on the regs and she's standing up. So you want to, how about you? Okay, come on up. Enjoy.
I just want to follow her.
Sure, and then it'll be you, okay? All right.
Is it on?
I have to use it and then I'll give it to her, yeah.
Okay, and state your name for the record for us.
Jennifer Newton.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So I just wanted to follow her especially because I do run a clinic and have ran a clinic for over 10 years and opened several other ones on top of that. I am not an esthetician. I give it to you guys for going to the schooling and learning all that. But honestly, I've been lasering for 10 years. I know what I'm doing. I would rather a doctor that's been practicing for 10 years work on me rather than somebody that's went to the 72-hour class. I've hired a couple girls that have come in that went to the 72-hour class. I have more incidences now than I've had in 6 years. They didn't even know what an Alex was, which is extremely terrifying for me. They're learning on diodes, which has nothing to do with what I do. We use a candela. So obviously the coverage is not there. The customer service is not going to be there. It's just terrifying. The incidences that I've had in the past 6 months since October, when I got a cease and desist letter, there was no communication whatsoever. And my company's larger. I mean, we have 3 clinics in Las Vegas, not to mention over 20. And nothing was communicated to us whatsoever until I received a cease and desist. I had to let go girls that I've had for the least amount was 3 years that have been performing laser hours and hours and hours. I can't even get grandfathered in. And I've been literally touching a laser for 10 years. I've had to let girls go that knew a lot about lasers. We have continuing education through our company that was never ever heard or even asked. There was not a test that we could have taken. It was simply, if you're an esthetician, I'm 51 years old, I'm not going back to school. I barely made it through high school, let alone 900 hours. I work full time, I have to. So now I just can manage. And don't get me wrong, that's a lot because I have to pay attention to what, these people are doing on the lasers. And I still am communicating through the charts what you're using on this laser. No, that was improper because you just went to a 72-hour class, yet I have 10 years. It's just, for me, I feel like there should have been some sort of way that I could have taken a test that you had given to me and passed that. I have to pass tests every single month for, like I said, continuing education through Simplicity. And the girls that I had to let go, they've been working for me for 5, some of them 8 years. They're not with me anymore. And these are young kids that they were able to get apartments off of this. And, this was their livelihood. And now I had to let them go. That was my family. Trish, I believe you worked for me, did you not?
I did. And the state board would not grandfather my Simplicity employment for the advanced, but I did get my advanced license, but they would not grandfather.
I had quite a few girls that called me because I was over Henderson also, you know,
Yeah, I called the corporate and they couldn't even find my,
which we've had a medical director from the get, you know what I mean? Like the same Dr. McLeod, like for years, that he would have signed off on me multiple times, you
I
know?
called corporate, they said no.
Right.
Yeah.
You had to actually be employment. But my point being is, it's very frustrating for me. I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. And then this is my career. I always wanted to cut hair, but I became a mom early, blah, blah, blah. So, but now I was able to do this. And it was something I was so passionate about. Like I've learned so much being in this industry to now I sit at a computer, like, and I take it very personal, my clients and all that they get the best treatments. And I have pictures of people now crying because their eyebrows blown off because this lady went to a 72-hour class on a diode and she went like this and now it's gone. Or tattoos, not one time, 3 times she went over this tattoo. We all know what that does. And it's not fair for these guys that like you had to spend, I don't even know how much to go to this classing. I just wish there had been, again, the communication thing, or that I or my girls, my team that have been with me for years and years had been able to get grandfathered in, or if we had to get 5 doctors to sign off, they could have, or taken a test. I just wish that had been an option for us. So I'm hoping that maybe in 2024, I'll stick this out and I can take a test and I can finally laser the people that I'm passionate about. And that's it. Thank you.
Anybody up north?
No comments, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just want to remind everybody, well, let's change the thing first. Does anybody have any suggestions on the regulation? Because if someone doesn't, then we can just go straight just to general comments. Or if you have suggestions on the regulation, you can send it to us. You can email it to us.
For the 75 hours.
No, for the whole.
For any regulation.
For any regulation.
Yeah, like for CEUs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
So does
to.
anybody have any comments can pertain to this right now, to what's on the agenda? Okay, then maybe you guys should line up. Because after that, we'll go to general comments, because that's what's going on. We're going into general comments saying, hey, yeah, things were messed up, communication was bad. Yes. And we definitely want to hear that.
Is it on point with the regulations?
Yes, half and half.
All right, yeah, just come on up to, she's got 4 right now.
Okay.
Name for the record.
I'm so shy. I'm Sarah Ferran. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and advanced esthetician. So I have not met any provider up here just yet. I used to provide the course, but I'm just as angry as everyone else who needs to take it because as a former provider, I think it's useless. I mean, just like the last lady who spoke, I was doing lasers immediately after my cosmetology license was given in 2016. You know, I found a love for the medical aesthetic side. I took a 6 to 7 month internship under my doctor directly, but since he's out of state, according to the affidavit, you know, he couldn't sign it, you know, legal purposes. You guys asked for an NV state license. He's no longer an NV doctor. He's in Canada. So that would have been useless. Going back into providing the course, all of the students personally I've taught did not give 2 cents about lasers. It was a waste of my time, but because of the scope of practice, you have microneedling, microcurrents, LEDs, chemical peels that they had to give up because of the advanced esthetician license. So as a provider, you know, it was a waste of my time trying to teach them all of these lasers, knowing that they just needed to be able to work at their current facility, or, you know, they got let go, they weren't able to pursue their job anymore after these ladies have been working at that same facility for how many years, but because the AE has been regulated, you know, they had to do a quick crash course to get that physical license so their owner or their boss can let them continue to work. So for regulation wise, I've already sent all of my paperwork resubmitted to offer the class. I haven't not heard yet, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't hear a response back just yet because there are things that I want to change on the new requirements. You guys said 20 hours maximum online. That's fine. I mean, I give you guys proof on how that's regulated, how that's tracked as soon as they log in and log out. But now for the in-person portion, prior it used to be 45 hours online, 30 hours in person. That's doable. But I've seen a bunch of these trainers try to push 10 hours per day, 3 days to get the students in and out at a low price. That's the biggest issue with me, going back into the last lady who spoke, where I've had students, they don't care for lasers, but they could potentially burn these clients because they're trying to get that crash course done in such a short amount of time. With the new requirements, now it's 55 hours in person from what I'm reading, since 20 hours are maxed out online. With the 55 hours, I'm thinking, me outside of education, I still have clients to work on. My students still have clients to work on. So how are you guys going to regulate it where the 55 hours required in person, what is it, 8 hours per day, 10 hours per day? Because I know once you guys start approving these curriculums, half of these providers are going to try to push 10 hours per day so they could get their money in, money out, work on their clients. My other issue with that as well is half of these providers, they took an AE course and then tried to train themselves within like a 2-3 month span. They graduated not even a year ago and they're taking these courses. And it hurts me because I went a 6 to 7 month unpaid internship to learn in trade to learn these lasers under my doctor. And I was working for him for 3 years. Pandemic happened, I transitioned to lasers, went back into the medical spa. Now I'm back in the industry and I see that all of these girls who are trying to apply under our facility, same thing. They don't know what contraindications are. They're trying to work on a woman that's pregnant. You cannot do that. But because they're not taught proper anatomy, the regulations you have sent, the requirements, I've already done that when I first submitted my application. So the fact that you guys sent it again, it's kind of mind blowing to the point where, is this not what you guys are keeping track of? The new regulations. I've already done all that. If that's the bare minimum, what were you checking to the other providers offering the class? Were you not going through their background? Because a lot of these educators I've seen, you can order a laser book on Amazon. You can get your $5,000 machine off Alibaba and call it a day. And it's sad because you can burn these potential clients. We're dealing with clinics. I have over 5 medical providers in our clinic as well. If I could have them sign me off too, rather than me having to take an AE course prior, same thing like the last speaker just said, it would have been easier. But now we're pushing out so many courses. None of these, only half of the list I've seen prior to you guys taking it down should only be qualified, other than schools and the ones that actually work in a medical spa facility. People are training lasers in a lobby knowing you can't do that. You're dealing with class 4 lasers, the lights are shooting everywhere and you have patients waiting in the lobby. That is unsafe. So when it comes to coming up with a new provider list, I think you guys should do a thorough background check other than the bare minimum of what I've already sent, because we deal with doctors. Our doctors literally 5 feet away if anything were to happen. Half of these medical directors you guys request to sign us off and supervise, they're within a 60-mile radius. If something were to happen, who can the provider call on hand? You know what I mean? It's all about safety too. Even though half of the students don't care to get the AE license, we got to think about the safety we're pushing out there to our clients as well. And as a former provider, and I hope I can continue educating, I just wish that there were a little bit more strict regulations as to who's providing the course, not just throwing it out there and people checking off a list like, okay, I got this document done, so and so. But that's all.
Oh, but, right. Lobby to take your break.
Okay, we're gonna take a bathroom break at 11:30. And please, if you are in the restroom, then come back in here. Or if you need to take phone calls, don't hang out in the hallway. That would disrupt this business here, the CPA firm. You can go outside, okay? So anybody up north, I keep going up north, they're part of us.
No comment up north at this time.
All right, they're part of the big.
It seems like they got everything together. They don't need anything. There's one person. One up north.
Okay, who's next? Oh, you're next. Okay. So 11:30. State your name for the record.
Yahaira Jones. I'm
Let's just have questions, more clarification. I'm kind of a COVID SD baby, I guess. That's when I graduated. So when I first found out about the new regulations, I called state board, and what I was told was that whatever I learned in school would be what I would be allowed to practice, which is exfoliation, extractions, microdermabrasion, waxing, body scrubs, body treatments. So cool, fine, no problem. Now we have all these new regulations, so I kind of just need clarification. So what is our old scope of practice? What is our new scope of practice? And then for the advanced estheticians, when do you need a medical provider, and who is that medical provider? A doctor, a dentist, a RN, LPN, like who? Who do we need to go to?
First of all, I appreciate your comment.
It's really more a question. That's like.
And this is a workshop.
Okay.
It's for comments. And really, we're available to you. You can always call us. You can definitely call Janie. She's over compliance. She's the one that regulates you. She's her inspectors out there. You see, they're all right back there. They inspect you. So you can actually call her and she can tell you exactly.
Well, I spoke to state board and I was told whatever you learned in school, you're okay to do. So
When was that?
it was like maybe 6 or 8 months ago.
6, 8 months ago.
And I know maybe the law is still in the works.
The services that you listed are pretty accurate. Manual extractions are in the law right now. We've proposed to allow extractions with a lancet to be allowed by you guys.
Well, for me, I just feel kind of like lost with the law, and I just, I know it's still working. So I think just clarification for the scope of practice now.
It's all proposed because nothing's been changed officially, but the goal is for an SD to do all those services, waxing, skin, extractions, and LED and skin scrubber, microcurrent, and galvanic. Those were, I think, the 5 core services that estheticians wanted in their scope. So yeah, the goal is to include that.
To include it back in.
So, okay, because it was removed and now it's trying to be placed back in.
It was taken
Okay.
out by the law in 2021.
Okay.
That's what happened. Now we're in 2023 trying to put it back in.
Okay, without the advanced license or with
the advanced license.
Okay.
You would be
Yes.
able to do LED, ultrasonic skin scrubbers, microcurrent, galvanic. And we've made some modifications to the laws that talk about salicylic and peeling of the skin. So essentially you would be able to do like a chemical exfoliation up into a certain point, and then advanced esthetician, the goal is to allow them to do a deeper peel under supervision.
Okay.
Typically, if you are an advanced esthetician, you'll know you need supervision if you need a doctor to get that done. A doctor or an APRN and a DO or a PA. If you need someone with a medical license or a prescriber's license to get the device, not secondhand off eBay or whatever, if you buy it secondhand and it's still an FDA prescribed or restricted device, you need a supervisor. If you're buying a device for cavitation off eBay that is not FDA approved, we don't get in the middle of all that. You don't need supervision. That's what we're leaning on.
So since the law for estheticians that don't have the advanced license, what is our scope of practice now? Is it just like waxing and lashes and just basic facials?
Yeah, facials, body scrubs, waxing.
That's still within our scope?
That's what's currently in the scope.
Okay.
Manual extractions.
Okay.
With, not with a needle.
With the comb
With the comb extractor.
And so for the future, once like we start with the comments and like when will we be like notified, like, okay, like, because before you had like the website and you put like, this is what you can do, this is what advanced can do, this is when you need the medical, like, is that going to be updated as well? So that we know that we're working within our scope?
Once everything is approved, so this regulation goes through quite a tedious process to get integrated into the law. Don't expect, it's a slow process for sure too. So don't expect to hear anything right away. And then same with the law change. We won't know anything about that more until the summer. So until after June. But yes, I'm sure we will definitely have a meeting to adopt the regulations. That will be done in another board meeting. We've definitely heard the concern about the lack of communication. It's definitely been acted on. So there will continue to be meetings, I'm sure, right, to explain the scope of practice
We love y'all.
And we are, like he said,
We wanna talk to
available. If you guys have questions, concerns, comments, you can always contact us via email or by phone. We're here to
Okay.
answer any questions. or-
Will the healthcare provider requirement, will that be specified to us to what kind of healthcare provider? Or
It
what-
is specified.
Okay.
It's an MD, a DO, a PA,
Oh, okay.
or an APRN. As it stands right now, registered nurses are not supervisors, but we've proposed an exemption to allow that. They don't require licensing. They're not our people, so we're trying to not infringe on their toes.
Can you name them again, an MD?
Right.
Well,
An MD, a DO, a PA, or an APRN.
Okay. And also the med board is going to also clarify what kinds of doctors can supervise. Can't have an ophthalmologist supervising an AE. That doesn't make any sense, right? So they're gonna do their thing, they're gonna jurisdiction over doctors, but they're gonna regulate the doctors to say, these are when doctors can do that.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, bathroom break. Okay. How about
11:45 up to north.
11:45, okay? All right, thank you. All right, are we back on? Yes, we are.
We are.
Okay, I just want to reiterate, emphasize that, does anybody have any comments about the regs? If there are none, we can skip to the general comments and just go at it. But I see people raise their hand that they have comments on that, so.
Yes.
To the actual regs.
Do we have to,
Okay, they're gone.
if you don't have one, I'll find it for you. Just be specific about what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'll send you the number.
Okay, Trisha Faust. One was the CEUs. So myself and Miss Mimi, we were speaking, it is a little like, and Miss Sharana, she's gone. The CEUs for us as instructors, it's like we teaching each other year after year. So when we go to other places, like I go to other states and I teach, and some places you can get CEUs, but we can also get accredited and we get certificates, but the state doesn't recognize that as CEUs. Huh?
Who accredits you?
So like Dermaplane Pro, for example, they go all over, but the only state they give CEUs is, I believe, Oregon. I believe that's what it is. So my thing is, you know, so like next month, I'm going to Arizona to the Skin Script skincare retreat, and we are doing advanced chemical peels and like that. For something like that, I feel like it should, I'm going to get a certificate, obviously, like somehow if we can get CEUs for just that, because if I'm only getting my CEUs here in Nevada by, I feel like there should be more places that offer the CEUs. I feel like I'm being limited in my education, and I continually take education. I have associated skincare professional. I have all the webinar. I have dot all my I's, cross all my T's, but doing this for 30 years, I need more, because whatever I learn, I teach my students. They have no clue, but I teach them, or I'll even make them watch the webinar so I can watch it at the same time and we learn together. Because even though I've been an esthetician for 30 years, I don't know everything. I really don't. But I want to learn other things, and I feel like I'm just limited to my CEUs that are here, and I don't think that it's helping me prosper as an individual. And the other thing is how you were saying, like for the people that can't afford for the to renew their license and is there a way that we can like have like something where we can have like not a GoFundMe, but you know, a separate pile of like if they are just out of school and the school only paid for them to have one test, like is there a pocket or somewhere that a fund that we can like
For retakes?
Yeah. You know, or even if it's, you know, so like a stay-home mom or, you know, just somebody who's hurting that year. I mean, and they can get like a one-time thing, or I mean, I'm more than happy to even donate to it to be able, but there's so many women that are like, I can't afford to renew my license. And I'm like, how much is it? I'll give you the money here. Because I don't want somebody to not have their license anymore because, you know, like one of my friends, she moved here from Utah. She had her license here and then she lost her job during COVID. So she couldn't barely pay her rent. Well, now she owes over $500 in fees and now she can't get a job and she's a fabulous instructor, but she can't get a job because she doesn't have her license because she owes all the fees. So is there something that we can do, like a cushion of something somewhere that we can help people, like even if they show their W-2s and it's X amount of money that they have to be, you know, does that make sense?
No, it does. You're looking at possibly a
Yeah,
waiver.
we have a provision in there
waiver
to
fees.
waive some of the late fees in certain circumstances, but I can actually afterwards give you more information about the CEUs.
Okay.
And not so much for licensing fees, but for like retakes and stuff, there's like nonprofit agencies that help. I can give you.
Okay, okay. And then the other thing that we were speaking about as well is maybe having another esthetician on the board, esthetician on the board.
That's in law, but noted.
Okay.
It's defined in law.
Because we have 7 members. We have 4 cosmetologists, 1 esthetician, 1 nail tech, and 1 consumer. So if we could do.
The composition of the board is outlined in the NRS, not the NAC, but it's noted, it's been commented before, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Can we just clarify too, about when the license are being placed on hold, who has that exemption?
So we've proposed different kind of paths depending on the individual. So if you're active duty military, it would be very simple for them to get their license put on pause and then.
For their D2s.
Right, and then
Yeah.
for someone that just, you know, maybe wants to move away and doesn't know if they're gonna come back, it would be in a form of paperwork. But like I said, I can give you some like outside resources for like students that need assistance getting their testing fees taken care of or their initial license fee. There's definitely agencies that help, not so much with the late fees, but the actual renewal fees themselves.
Oh, okay. That would be perfect. Okay, thank you, Jamie.
For all service providers or just estheticians?
I'm sorry.
Will that be something that you're assisting with all service providers or just est?
No, to my knowledge, there's different nonprofits around the state that will assist people with retake fees, licensing.
No matter
fees.
their.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like
Any license.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And also the pause is proposed.
Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
They proposed to the legislature.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else on the regs? Don't keep on pointing to the regs themselves. It is you and then county.
I did speak earlier.
Okay, the name for the record.
My name again is Sharita Canty. And I'm a licensed cosmetologist, both states, Minnesota and Nevada. In this particular situation, I'm just speaking in reference to like eyelash extensions. Just like some of you are saying, if a person's only doing eyelashes, why do they need to become an esthetician just to apply? Was it you?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to apply lashes, you know, you have to go and pay all this money to learn all these different things when their passion is just lashes. Like, is there a way that we can add like a maybe 300-hour course or something for lashes only?
You're proposing an eyelash license.
Yeah, a license, yeah.
That would also be a law. And that's definitely something that's been discussed.
Okay.
When I believe brought up the idea of a eyelash license and we immediately shot her down.
They don't.
Why?
They're just, for what it's worth, we're going totally out of context here, but the more you start to parse out our licenses, the more the federal government is gonna take them away and deregulate. Because if they're gonna say, oh, you only need this for that, or this for that, they're gonna be like, well, then you don't need a license. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to learn any of that. Just go do it. So.
And it used to be that way in some states.
Noted, and it'll be considered in the future on a law change.
But it is a law change through the legislature.
Sure.
So the other thing too is that what's that usual saying, it's a slippery slope. If you start parsing out, all these licenses, we're gonna have 200 licenses, which means more regulation, which you guys don't want.
Or they'll just deregulate.
Just deregulate. And
And
I
I
think you
believe
guys
the-
want to protect the public.
I believe the lash license is in some states who don't have lash extensions regulated or
Right.
the scope of practice of their licensees, where it does fall in the scope of practice of a cosmetologist,
And an
esthetician or advanced esthetician. So by parsing it out and then allowing someone to get it, why aren't we just offering a laser license? And we can go down the rabbit hole, you know,
Right.
just slowly start to deregulate.
So that one is probably not gonna happen then, huh?
You never know.
Never know, okay.
No,
It's no, you're not.
that's your comment.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, who's next? Oh, anybody in Reno?
No comments in Reno.
Okay, all right, please.
Hi,
Hey, Countess, come on in.
all right, so,
Name for the record.
Countess Courtney for the record, is this thing on? What does my note say, 310 and 320? In regards to the apprenticeship sections, my comment is, it appears there's no room for an advanced esthetician apprenticeship. And being that we potentially have a large group of highly experienced laser technicians that have not gone to a 600-hour program for aesthetics, I believe it would be worth reexamining that text. So that way there can be an opportunity for these highly experienced laser technicians to be able to obtain an advanced aesthetics license through supervision. Of course, the apprenticeship program now requires that it's in a very far, I don't remember the term, but it's rural, thank you. And I believe if we would modify that, there would be a chance for those technicians to continue on with their career that they're so passionate about. So that is my comment about the issue at hand. And I also wanted to recognize the staff for doing an outstanding job in general, and just always being available, consistently being available. I've mentioned this before, and I've dealt with other boards, and you guys are doing a great job at being available. Thank you.
Thank you, Countess. So, come on. Who's next? Anybody up north?
Not at this time, thank you.
All righty, okay. And who'll be next one? Okay.
Thank you. I apologize, I have to go, so that's why I want to get in. My name is Tamar Amaral. I've been an esthetician over 15 years. I have a location in Las Vegas and Pahrump. So it's a little bit hard for being an esthetician in Pahrump. One of the things that we have is, for example, the medical directors, because there's only so many miles. In Pahrump, unfortunately, because we're small, a lot of doctors come in and out. So for us to be able to have a medical director from Vegas, we actually fall out. So I would like to, have a suggestion of having a little bit more mileage for us to be able to reach Pahrump. A question, the microneedling, is that part of advanced aesthetics still? Okay. So in January, I think last year, when we changed, we had to go to the advanced classes. I was told I could only go to Nima College, not good or bad. I think they're fantastic at what they were teaching us. I did take the 2 classes where we had to do the microneedling, dermaplaning, cryo and all that. And we had to do laser, even though I don't say never. Probably unlikely I will do laser in my future. I do think that the microneedling and everything was a really good addition for estheticians. If it's not part of the schooling, I think for estheticians, it should be a good education to take after, like me, after October. So
one thing, and I know, thank God, I think the class is gonna stop in October, because I think unfortunately, I was one of those people that was one of the first ones to go to schooling. So we've paid a huge amount of money to go to advanced. And it kind of, with the education kind of sucks that, a lot of people got away with teaching that should not be teaching. So I hope that really goes into effect with being more strict, who's teaching, who's not teaching. I hope that statisticians don't be mad at me for saying this, but I think certain classes, certification should not be taken online. I think, and I know like dermaplane, dermapro and all that, I think it's great if you take it as an added on certification. But I think it's like you said, to add on more certifications in Las Vegas, in our state, in Reno, wherever we are. And then add another certification, like a specific company that uses their products. I think that's great. I just don't think that when you perform Las Vegas, that you take a class from the East Coast and they have no clue about what our laws are, what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do. And just because we're certified, we can put a plaque on the wall that we're professionals at it. So I really think that we should be a little bit more specific with teaching classes like that. Medical directors. I hopefully don't ever have to use them. I think maybe we can help small businesses, estheticians that are like me, that if they do want to go into laser, the cost from what I've heard, having a medical director is just outrageous. And being a solo esthetician and you want to do, and it doesn't even have to be laser hair removal, but certain machinery that you still have to have a medical director. I think paying, because I think the Clear and Brilliant is $60,000, and then you have to have a medical director. It's just like really, I think for most estheticians, just out of our price range, to have everything together. So I think certain machinery, maybe we have to look into to see if we should do it or not, or advance, or with medical director, whatever people want to do. And I apologize, and I know you said about the business learning and everything, which I think is great. I did not have that in my schooling. I loved my schooling. My teachers were actually estheticians for 15 years and teaching, so it really helped so much with me becoming an esthetician, and actually also work for their spa to really, learn services, get my experience and everything. I thought that was fantastic, but I was not taught, I was only taught to go take get ready for the exam, get the exam, here's your license, woohoo, now what? So the way it got taught to us, basically you can work, for yourself or for a studio, but it was never explained to us how, what license do you need, like the establishment license, business license. I was not aware of that until I opened up my salon in Pahrump, because I've worked for other companies, so they already had the establishment license. So I never thought twice that when I go my own, that I had to have that. So it would be nice if there's so many hours that they truly go over what is expected, what's necessary by the law, and what can you expect and in what order. Instead of go to my website, you can read on it, because not all of us can understand what's on the website. I apologize. Because like the law terms, it's a little bit tricky for us to understand, because we think it's one thing and it's a whole different thing. So I think that would help a lot for the new estheticians that come. I also would like to bring up skin tag treatments. I think skin tag treatments is amazing. I think we can help so many people. In the medical field, it's considered cosmetic just because it's a benign growth. I think there's a lot of machinery also out there that are class 1 devices that are high frequency, which is under our scope. And we are not removing, we're not cutting, we're not lasering off, we're not burning off. There's a lot of different machines, just like fiberblast, which I know we're going back and forth, but a high frequency machine is a safe method of doing skin tag treatments. Like I said, we're not burning off, we're not taking off, we're not zapping off, we're not doing none of that. So I think we should maybe reconsider, and I would like to have that like an advanced aesthetics. Because I think it's amazing to help people. There's so many people out there that are not even aware that, we can do something about it, because a lot of doctors, they don't want to do it because it's just cosmetic, and they're more for, disorders and diseases. So I would like for us to keep that, into our thing. So I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody up north?
No comments up north, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gigi Green. I am an advanced aesthetics licensed, and I'm bringing up again, possibly bringing back into our scope doing chemical peels. I went to school over 20 years ago, and this was in our teachings, and I feel like it's one of the things that is very relevant for us in what we're limited in doing, but giving results. So thank you for your time and please consider it.
Anybody up north?
Not at this time, thank you, Stephen.
Welcome. Okay, this on the regs?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And name for the record, please.
Julia Hevley. I have been an esthetician for 20 years. I've been a registered nurse for 10. I've owned my own business for 10. I just opened my own salon. So got a lot of things going on. Anyways, I want to talk about the chemical peels and I want to talk about the skin tags. I've worked in dermatology. I've worked in spas on the Strip. And I can say, especially within dermatology, the estheticians are the ones that know the chemical peels in and out. The doctors, even the nurses, like I'm dually licensed, an RN and an esthetician. The other RNs know nothing. I know more, or I knew more than the doctor I was working for with chemical peels. So I do feel that we should be allowed to have chemical peels. I agree that certain depths should be under medical supervision. I also agree that skin tags should be under medical supervision. There's a lot of ways to remove a skin tag. For example, I can use an Nd:YAG 1064, which just stops the blood flow to the skin tag and it falls off on its own. So yes, I think those are things that need to be considered. I also have girls that work in my office. Almost all the girls that I rent rooms to are relatively new. They've all gone and taken these advanced esthetician courses. And one came back to me and said, oh, well, why did you pay so much for your laser when you can just go order one online for $15,000? And I'm like, well, it comes with training and it comes with FDA approval. And I have someone that I can go to at the company if something goes wrong. There's nurses on hand. There's so many things you get when you're buying a regular laser, not one from China. And so I do think that these courses really need to be regulated on who's offering them, what machines they're using when they offer them. And I also think that these girls who are coming out of the advanced esthetician courses come out and they think, oh, I'm ready to go. I could just go apply for jobs in a medical office. But really, there's so many lasers out there and they all work very differently. And I feel like it would be great if the board said, okay, we want your advanced esthetician license, but send us your certifications too. I've been certified multiple times for one of my lasers because I've bought multiple lasers from the same company. So I know it in and out, and you get trainings with those too, where they're specifically working with you on that laser all day long or a couple of days in a row. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
No comments.
You're watching me.
Yeah, I beat you to it.
Anybody want to talk about the regs? Specifically about the regs, some specific recommendation for us. Then, yeah. After we wrap this up, then we will go into just general comments, okay? You can talk about anything. So.
Hi, okay, Eleanor Palmer. I just had a question about I think it was the 644A. It was about licensing, I believe. So Being dual licensed, I know I've mentioned it a couple times. Am I still going to be paying 2 separate licenses for cosmetology and advanced aesthetic? Is that going to stay as is?
As of right now, yes.
Okay, so that's what I was curious about. And then also too, I think it's in NAC 649, the hours for a cosmetologist. So if I have a girl working for me that wants to go to if she doesn't get in before October, right, of the deadline, she will have to go to school for how many hours afterwards? Because you're only giving so many hours per cosmetology. What is the,
150 for
is 150 per cosmetology?
She would get 150. No, she would get 160.
Once,
I believe she gets 160 and my math skills are poor. So she would have to go to school for 740 hours.
740 hours. And then that's just an advanced aesthetic, like what would she have to go to a school like National Laser Institute, or she'd have to go to like an esthetician? Advanced aesthetics, okay. All right, because I have
And
girls,
that's proposed at this time.
it's not even,
proposed.
it's just a proposal. Okay, I thought there was one more thing. Micro channeling, I think it was 644A. So micro channeling and micro needling are still on the advanced aesthetic as of now. Is there any future to remove any of that off the advanced? Okay, that's what I thought. That was something I wanted to cover because I do micro channeling. So it's similar but different in depths of needles. So, and then special event and limited licenses, is that the same fee? As far as, or is that just a one-time thing to do this special event, or how does that work?
We've proposed changes in the fees
Okay.
for the limited license, but as it stands right now, a limited license is $100 for 1 full calendar year.
Okay, and then the
Believe
special,
Yeah, if this proposed language were to go into effect, I believe it's been modified to the special event license, which I believe we have proposed at $25.
oh, and that's just per event that you're
Per
doing.
event.
Got it. Okay, that's where I was confused at.
So will it expire on your birthday as well as the rest?
I
or-
think it would be, so I think what we talked about when we wrote that verbiage was you would show something, it would be a temporary license essentially, instead of a full calendar year. So
okay.
if you would show proof of whatever it was that you were doing, right? Like if you were gonna go work at a festival. you would
Right.
Show like your permit or your business license, I'm gonna go do this service there and it would be good for
Proof
that.
of
More of a
temporary
permit.
hire by location.
exactly.
So like a letter that consists of, like the documentation, stating where you're gonna be working for that small period. of
Okay.
time.
And then I wrote a note and it was the 644, 825, and I put I guess it was the number 8 in there. I put in parentheses and now I don't remember what it was, but I wanted to ask about it and I don't have it in front of me.
What
So
number was it? 825?
825, and then it was like under the number 8.
Number 8.
Yeah.
That's a special event.
Yeah, that's.
Is that the special event? Okay, maybe that's what it was. I put it right next to it. So those are the things that I was just concerned about. And then just knowing that I have cosmetologists or estheticians that always asking me, I get calls on the regular from just people that I know. I've been in this industry in this town for that 34 years. So I know a lot of people. So they'll call me out of the blue and say, what happened? Which is, I think it's crazy. I think you should really, I mean, I do tell them what goes on in these meetings, but again, just trying to make sure I don't give wrong information out to somebody. And then I'm just like, oh, sorry, I gave you the wrong information. So yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
And you can always point them to our
Yeah.
website.
Right, and I do
The
tell them
date
that.
For the meetings is usually up within 2 business days. So
Okay.
if someone want to come back and relive this, it should be up on the website in about 2 days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Also, you can always contact us.
Yeah.
All right, you can tell them, hey, look, you can get it.
Oh, they'll call me and then I'm like, call them and they're
Yeah,
like,
you can get it from the horse's mouth.
right, exactly.
Call us, we are you.
No more dead horses.
But don't beat me like a horse, okay? Does anybody have any comments about the regulations that's on the agenda today? You have any comments, any recommendations on language, things of that nature? Otherwise, we'll jump into the comment period. Please.
Any comment to the board?
Did you fill out one of those papers?
Okay, as you're doing that, once we're done with all the comments on the regs today, then we're going to jump into the public comment area, limited to 3 minutes, okay? And hopefully, you've gotten all your comments in just during the day. If you've already spoken, then there's probably no reason to speak anymore. but if you want to, you definitely can. Just want to give anybody else that hasn't had a chance to speak, a chance to speak. But again, when we jump to that area, it'll be 3 minutes and then we'll go from there, okay? All right.
All right.
You got the
Thank you.
floor.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I won't, thank you. I am Yasmin McKinney. I just wanted to clarify some verbiage on the proposal for the number of hours that are going to be accepted for someone who's trying to get the advanced aesthetics license. Was it up to 600 hours?
Correct. It'll be up to 600. We do take calls from people all the time that got their aesthetics license during that phase where 900 were required.
That's where I'm getting all the
So
questions.
They would be only given the 600. And if they went and got their license at a time when 500 was required, they'd only get whatever we had record.
How many hours is required for esthetician?
For esthetician, at
Currently?
this time, 600, but it's changed many a times over the years. So everyone in this room could have gone for a different amount of time.
Yeah, that's part of where I'm getting a lot of the questions from my previous graduates. So thank you for clarifying that. I will let them know. That's all I got.
All right, great. I love this community, you know, you all are talking to each other. I know you all do. And we want you to talk to us too. We're part of your community. And if you have a question, we are transparent and open to your questions. Please call us. I mean, if you can't answer it for your colleagues, your former students, we're here because we're the ones that license them.
Yeah, Eric.
Right, so we're here.
And everybody answered the phone.
To give you, hey, we'll answer your phone. I get a lot of phone calls from this industry. I get a lot of emails from y'all. And I actually find time to do that. I'm not just dealing with y'all, I'm dealing with a lot of other people. But I know that, hey, I'm here to work in partnership with you, okay? I want you to be successful and your students be successful. So anybody else have any comments up north? Gotcha.
No comments up north, thank you.
Cut it out. All right, any other, oh, you, please come on up. Oh, is this?
Are we doing?
Do you have something about our regs or you just want to just comment?
Comment.
Okay, all right, well, hold on, just stay right there, right now, you stay right here. Okay, so no more comments about the regs today.
Let's not just fill that. out.
Okay, you
That's
just fill it out now.
regulation.
This is just regular public comment.
Okay.
Okay, we are closing the workshop on the regs. Now we're gonna go into just general comments about whatever you like. 3 minutes. Yeah. To the 24th, you have time to send us an email on the regs, okay? Besides your public comments here, we love to get things in writing. That way we can hold it against you. So please, come on. Okay, we're closing that hearing. That's part of the hearing. Now we're gonna go into just general comment, okay? 3 minutes and floor is yours.
Well, it's more of a question, actually. Brianna Calandrella. Are you regulating tattoo removal? Because under the devices, it does not state the tattoo removal device. You are. And is it under?
Yes.
Okay.
Any laser service for the purpose of aesthetic, anything. So
Okay.
removing hair, laser tattoos belongs. under
Okay.
aesthetic.
And does it say it now? Because I know under devices, it didn't say it before.
Where are you referring to? devices?
It was somewhere on your website as
It should say.
as
it on there.
lasers. Yeah.
We've reorganized that to not be so spread out. So it should go like lasers.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it
that.
was a lot. Okay. And then have you guys thought about maybe changing the advanced courses to like the masters? Aesthetics?
The title?
Or like everything that is being taught under the book? Like, are you using the advanced aesthetic for the teachings?
We don't require a specific text. At this
Okay.
time, there's really.
Like under like Milady, like where you
Right.
have your basic and then you have your.
Milwaukee is like the forerunner on that, so most people are using it. I know Pivot Point's working on a better one.
Right.
We don't require a specific text.
Okay.
It states on the theory exam, like which reference was used per exam.
Gotcha.
But they make their best effort to make them dual reference.
Okay, thank you.
Any public comments up north?
No comments, thank you.
See, I caught her again. All right, any public comments? Any public comments? This is recommending. All right, oh, do you have a public comment? Come on
Hey, my name is Prasan Molis. I'm a nail technician here in Nevada. I just wanted to propose legislation that regulates the type of electrical e-file drill bits that nail technicians can safely use on the natural nail plate or other soft gel nail polish enhancement products. So in working in the nail salons, I've noticed nail technicians using like medium carbide bit, coarse carbide bit, extra coarse, even double extra coarse nail drill file bit on the natural nail plate to remove gel, like soft gel polish colors. I think that it unnecessarily jeopardizes the health and safety of the clients for the benefit of the nail technician to shorten the service time or save time. Yeah, I think that was all I had to say about it. Thanks.
Okay, all right. All right, okay. Anybody else down here in public comment? 3 minutes, okay.
I just have a question. As far as Jennifer Newton, sorry. As far as the medical director, are we gearing towards you are wanting a medical director on site at all times? No, just
60
having,
miles, 60 minutes readily available for consultation in the event that care is needed, and that they can come treat someone should they need to.
okay, so not on actual.
No.
Okay, and then as far as the tattoo removal, it's the same, so they have to be licensed just like they do with the hair removal.
Right.
Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
What is your name, gentlemen? Yeah, thank you for listening to all of us.
I know.
For a nail question, that was a lot.
Yeah, he's patient.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
anybody else in public comment?
I just want to thank you guys for being attentive to all of us service providers and holding this workshop, you know, so that we can put our point of view in perspective and you guys maybe acknowledge it or make these changes for us.
Sure, absolutely. That's what we're here to do. Thank you so much for that. How about board comment? Hey, we have 2 board members here. Board comment?
Thank you, thanks everyone for showing up.
Thank you for a good run, Gwen. We appreciate you and everything you've done. This is Gwen's
Last term, so somebody's gonna pick the torch up and take off.
Uh-oh, they
Any staff comment? Anything from the wonderful staff over there? Thank you for monitoring the halls. Appreciate that. So CPA from Humanities, anything from you?
Are there any questions or concerns while we're here? We can answer any other questions. Yes. Anybody need to know where to go? Should you need a question answered? Because we're available 4 days a week, 40 hours a day. What's your question?
I wanted to get more clarification on the laser lipo part of for body sculpting, because you guys have it like separated, like cavitation is approved for advanced and vacuum therapy is approved. But then you need a medical director for the laser lipo portion that like is not, it doesn't go that.
Yes, so that's a tough one in that document to be like, you need a medical director here, but not here. So it is
one machine.
It is super generic on there, and there was a decision to write that anything involving a laser, because people just breeze through what we write. Sometimes laser equals like doctor for most parts, but not always true. So should you have a question like, I have this device, it says this, it's this, but there's no way it needs a medical director, call us.
Yeah,
So
send us
we will
the
tell
device
you for
name.
sure.
Good, yeah.
Because if you really don't, if you have a device that you've had, you got it from Amazon, you likely don't need a medical director. So if anybody is ever concerned or has a question over what device they're using, do I need medical oversight for this? Call us. It's too hard for us to put that in a table on the website, unfortunately. Thank you.
So it depends on what you're using, whether you need a medical director or not.
Yes.
I think everybody was, I think one of the things that came out of this was that look at things on a case-by-case basis.
Yes.
See, so that's one of the reasons why we want you to call.
Right.
So we can look at your case, what you're using, and try to make an informed decision for you, okay? All right, anybody else? Staff doesn't want to say anything, board members are done, the public's done, we're all done up north.
We are all done up north. Thank you so much.
Here with us, fine. Well, close this meeting.
Thank you.